You can support this show at patreon.com/ASA podcasting.
Wrapped. Boop, boop, boop.
The wasteland is a host of apocalyptic mess as the sole survivor wanders out about to see the rest. Nuclear explosions sending out the gamma rays from deep within the core, gross atomic waste. From deep within the core, gross atomic waste.
Hello and welcome to the 412th edition of the Fallout Feed. I am Andrew, joined by a flock of my favorite Fallout folks, and we are the show who compares and contrasts Fallout experiences through a lively roundtable discussion by comparing something and doing
Maybe and contrasting.
something else. Comparing, contrasting Fallout. I should have written that down.
With drastically different attributes.
Randomly assigned drastically different attributes. Welcome, everyone. Today I am joined by Ray. What's up, Ray?
Hello.
And Jess. What's going on, Jess?
Hey, Andrew. Greets, everybody. I love that we're bringing back the old intro, but yeah, we probably ought to relearn it.
But are we, though? we're attempting in a sort of sad way. All right,
We're
guys.
just a little rusty.
We've got a new roundtable on. We've got some characters that we've rolled the last couple episodes. We've got a little bit of an introduction to some of those characters. We've got a few more introductions that have rolled in tonight, and we will hear from Katherine, Jeff, and Taz, and also Soph did a Facebook post, so we'll probably check in with their character introductions. And we've got a little bit of feedback, part B's from Blaze and Pip-Boy Steve and Kosmo. We'll see if we can get those tonight. If not, we'll hear about those next episode. So thanks, everyone, for submitting your feedback. I'd like to remind everyone, if you'd like to hop on, your character generator can be found at asapodcasting.com. You click on the Fallout Feed section, and there's a whole list of all of the character generators that Pip-Boy Steve has been nice enough to curate for us. So just click on whichever game you want to play. Right now we're doing Fallout 4. And we're all playing in survival mode. Sort of a new twist to get you to play a little bit out of your comfort zone. And boy, is it uncomfortable sometimes, isn't it?
It sure is. It's been amazing hearing the feedback last week already, but also seeing the feedback in Facebook and in our Discord. Earlier tonight, Steve mentioned himself, for instance. Pip-Boy Steve said, yeah, I'm playing PC vanilla, so I'm definitely a masochist. That's how a lot of us are feeling. The more vanilla, the more of a masochist, because alleviating a little bit of those survival symptoms can help.
It's without the autosave, it's just brutal. You got to know where every goddamn bed in the wasteland is. It's really hard to do it that way, Steve. Kudos, man. All right, so on the show tonight, like I mentioned, we'll do a little character feedback. I've prepared a game. Still welcoming back Otter for everyone who was missing my kitty. No one as much as me, but we're still celebrating the return of Otter. I've got another Otter-oriented game that we will get into.
Oh, nice.
Jess was sort of poking fun at me. The game's like, yeah, that Otter game was real tough last week, Andrew. But I'll
in a good
show
way.
You.
I said, the quizzes have been easy lately. Don't make us look bad.
I'll show you. I'll show you something.
No.
And of course, we got some iguana bits and some news and a couple of shouts on our way out the door. So let's go ahead and roll into our gameplay. Ray, have you got a chance to play any video games this week?
I have played a little bit of video gaming. So we had a Skyrimatic podcast record this week. And I was talking about my new Bard character.
Ooh.
So,
I always like a Bard
this mod collection that I'm running called Immersive and Pure. It has a bunch of Bard enhancements, and so I've been playing around with those, and it's been pretty fun. You can play instruments and and do performances and stuff. It adds a whole series of quests before you do the first vanilla quest, where you have to go to the dungeon and go through and find King Olaf's verse or something. So it adds a bunch of bard related things where you have to, learn your history and learn your songs, and each, and play the drums and play the flute, and you have to take tests for everything.
Oh,
so it's a little bit like the Pioneer quests in 76, where you do the scout tests and you go and take the quiz and everything. Yeah. After reading, so they actually give you a bunch of books to read. So you read the books and then you go take tests, and it's kind of interesting, kind of a cool way to learn the lore.
Do they actually do a performance test on the drums and stuff too? Like you have to keep tempo on your keyboard or anything?
Well, so you practice. So you go stand out in the street or in an inn, and you pull out your lute and you start playing. And at the beginning, you're horrible, and they activate all of the different panic sayings that all the NPCs normally say in the game.
People throw rotten cabbages at you, and
yeah, and guards threaten you, and it's quite hilarious. But then you keep doing it, and you get better and better, until finally you're a competent bard.
Oh, that's great. Well, the bard college was always sort of like a mini quest in comparison to the whatever you had to do to get into the Warriors Guild or the magic school and all that. You know what I mean? It was sort of like a mini quest.
And then it was really, I mean, there was nothing performative about it.
You're right.
So this adds all that to it. So that's been a lot of fun.
Very nice.
I played a very colorful version of Dishonored.
What do you mean by very colorful? Did you?
It's called Redfall.
Oh, is that the new
the
game?
New vampire game?
Is that new vampire game?
Arcane? Yeah. It feels a lot like you're playing Dishonored. So
I've never played Dishonored. I don't get the reference. I'm sorry.
Nah.
Jess, you played Dishonored?
Oh, definitely the first one. Checking with chat. It's hopping tonight. But yeah, you said you played a colorful Dishonored. What does that mean?
But so when you
Red.
play Redfall, it really feels like Dishonored.
Oh, Redfall. Okay, yeah, got a lot to say about that for sure.
So, haven't played a ton of it. I think I'm level 5 or 6, something like that.
Oh, that's pretty high. I mean, it's not like you level that quickly in Redfall. You have to.
Yeah, no, it is
A lot of areas and quests.
But yeah, so that's been fun. And it's always funny. I play a game and it's everything seems to be fine with it, and then I see that there's all this hubbub about how bad things are and what a horrible game it is, and it's like, what game are they playing? And are they trying to play it on their Lenovo laptop or something? Because it plays just fine for me. And I had the same thing with Cyberpunk, and No Man's Sky at the time. When it first released, everybody was bashing on the game, and I was like, "What? It's fine."
Well,
and that's the thing with Cyberpunk originally, and why the reviews came in differently is because most people had tested and played it on PC as well. So they didn't really know about the issues that were coming. Admittedly, even PC had a number of issues once it got out there, on all the variety of systems. But there was definitely a lot less on PC initially, right?
Yeah, and I didn't really start having problems on PC until they started fixing it for console. Stupid consoles. They should just banish those.
Well, and Ray, you build yourself a new supercomputer every 6 months or so. So of course,
Starfield.
all of your stuff is tip-top shape in comparison to people who are trying to play it on like a 12-year-old system. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. The timing doesn't work out. So typically the best time to build a computer is October, November. You get a lot of good deals. A lot of new parts have been released, and so the still really good, good parts just before that
Previous
go
year.
on sale, and so you can build a computer pretty cheap. But I have to not be able to play Starfield on my current computer. I have to build a new computer in order to play it.
Well, you got time. It's not coming out till 2024.
Who do you have
so-
to prove it to, Ray? I mean, just turn up those settings. Turn ray tracing all the way up in Cyberpunk, and I mean, you'll see. It'll stutter.
No, those already are.
Oh gosh, we got to do something.
Yeah.
You got to be able to justify it somehow.
Yeah. So it'll work itself out.
Good.
But other than that, it's been, still just cruising around in No Man's Sky and playing a lot of survival.
Survival's been fun. You guys post an episode of BBC ISS?
No, we did not. We had a little wrinkle in our recording.
Oh, no.
It's always fun, it's herding cats. But we'd normally record on Saturday. We pushed it to Sunday, and then something came up on Sunday.
Of course.
And so we were done for the week. So, yeah. So we'll record tomorrow. No, Sunday for sure.
Very nice. What are you getting into survival mode?
Survival mode, just trying to get my character settled in. So I discovered that she was a long distance swimmer before the war.
Excellent.
And
Convenient.
so now I swim everywhere, and since I'm not doing the Minutemen, I can go to whatever settlements I want to. And so I have Abernathy Farm, which is the one that was assigned to me. So I got that one set up, right away. But
have any trouble at the satellite dish place or whatever? Getting the locket?
No, that was I didn't have the crazy mod in that completely changed everything and made it harder to navigate through. So I was able to take them out with a little more ease.
Nice.
So the first settlement I picked up was Hangman's Alley.
Mm-hmm. Right there on the river. Very
yeah.
nice.
Yeah. And then the next one I picked up was Taffington Boathouse.
Also near the waterfront. I think I see a
and
pattern forming
then today I set up Nordhagen Beach.
Oh, beautiful Nordhagen. Visit nordhagenbeach.com.
Waterfront property is all the rage in Fallout 4 Survival, apparently. So these really were the first settlements you took? Like last week when we talked about our intro and stuff like that, did you grab any others? I know you didn't do Preston, so did you not bother with 10 Pines or Abernathy at all?
So Abernathy was assigned to me, so that one
Right.
I did.
Okay.
So I got Red Rocket to start, just because I didn't want anything to do with Sanctuary.
Fair enough. Wash your hands of that place. I mean, from a character perspective, that it has a lot of memories, so I can understand that too.
But then I got Abernathy set up as soon as I could get into Concord and clear out those raiders down on the street, because I'm using Sim Settlements too. And so I had to get into the Concord hardware store to pick up my ASAM boxes.
Oh, important.
All right.
Okay.
Upstairs.
Um, So once I did that, I was able to get Abernathy set up, and made Blake Abernathy the mayor of Abernathy Town.
I like this whole mayor system and some settlements you've got going on.
Yeah. So the one downside I did discover is that so you don't get any building XP by using some settlements.
If you're letting it auto build, you mean? If you basically give some general instructions and let it happen?
Yeah, or even if you use ASAMs.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense because the
yourself.
ASAMs are basically pop-ups. So you're not like building each component at all.
Yep.
Can you?
For anyone listening who doesn't understand mayors or sim settlements, do you want to do a quick explanation?
Sure. So sim settlements, there's a couple of different ways you can go. So sim settlements 2, so you get ASAM sensors. They do have a tutorial mission. So when you build your first settlement, this guy shows up and is like, "Hey, you building a settlement here? How'd you like some help?" And so then he'll actually take you on a quest to go help him take back his shop at the hardware store, and that introduces you to the ASAMs.
What does
Okay.
ASAM stand for? Is that an acronym for something?
Yeah, it's essentially just automated
Settlement,
building.
something or other.
Yeah. But so with these ASAMs, you can either decide whether they're going to be a residential plot, which makes a little house with a bed, so that you've got a space for a settler. There's farming plots that let you set up food production.
Various crops. Yep.
Yeah, so you can choose the different kinds of crops. You can get chickens or cows or cats.
And then there are vendor modules. And each of these are about the size of a foundation or 4, right?
Yeah, so you have 2x2 or 4x4 that you can build.
Yep.
And it really just depends on how much space you've got in a space, because it builds the same modules. So it's not like you build a tiny farm or a tiny house. It still builds a full size plot.
Right. I mean, there are a lot of different styles you can choose from. It's not like everyone's going to be the same. You're not building little tacky houses all the same. I mean, you can if you want. But I remember, because I haven't played with Sim Settlements 2. I only played Sim Settlements 1. But back then, there were usually, like 4 to 6 modules of each type. So 4 to 6 residential types, 3 or 4, farming. And then the interior ones I like too. I really like the interior ones because you can take and do that inside of an already existing building, and it just it'll put stuff up on the walls and stuff on the floors, but you take care of the rest. That's a nice compromise if you still want building XP. You can build the structures and then pop these inside.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and so you can also build industrial plots that give people jobs, so everybody's happy. There's defense plots and all different stuff. So you can build out your town however you want to build it out. Or you can build a city planning desk and assign a person to be the mayor of your town. And they are in charge of making all buildings decisions.
Which that's really neat. And that's something new in 2. We didn't have that back in Sim Settlement 1, like
Right.
fully automating.
And the other thing with Sim Settlements 2 is that they opened it up to other modders. And so they've had contests, for city plans, for the various settlements. And one of them, I still have to get a picture to be able to post of Taffington Boathouse. So I had been to Diamond City, and I did the Piper interview, and so I took her on as a follower, and then dismissed her to Taffington Boathouse.
Okay, so you've got Taffington, Hangman's, Nordhagen, and Abernathy. And you sent Piper to Taffington to be the mayor there?
Yep. Yep. So I signed her to the city desk, and she's built it out. She the city plan for Taffington builds a bridge across the water. Originally, I thought it was to the Coast Guard office, but it was actually to what's the name of the estates right there with all the super mutants in it.
Forgetting the name.
Yeah. Is it West something? Anyway, it builds a big barn with a bunch of junk collecting plots in it and all kinds of stuff. Really cool defenses, and it makes it look like a really well developed settlement. So Piper did a good job there, and they continue to work on it all the time so the settlement builds up its own materials. Actually, that reminds me, I got to go back and build some storage units so that they can hold more material, so that they can build bigger areas. But it just makes a really cool looking settlement, and it's a lot easier than doing it yourself.
I think that's neat. So they're basically predetermined settlements that they can choose from, and it really doesn't matter who you put as the mayor. They're probably going to build something similar, or do they have their own? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although it can impact the general health of the settlement, depending. So, like when I was trying to decide, who to assign, I could assign dog meat.
I mean, hey, if we can make Prim Slim sheriff, why not dog meat mayor? That sounds good to me.
But it warns that dog meat is very frivolous and is a free spender.
Oh no!
Why are all these dog houses everywhere? All these bones laying around.
Lucy Abernathy is naive and inexperienced. So
she puts the basement on top.
The people that you assign do have some impact on.
Interesting.
That's
on
funny.
what they do.
Yeah, chat says all the budget goes for treats.
Yeah.
That place you're trying to remember is West Everett Estates.
That's the one. Yeah.
Thank you,
So
Andrew.
I
was pulling up the map, and I'm like, I don't remember that one at all.
Do super mutants ever wander across the bridge back towards the settlement now?
I haven't gotten any notifications.
Okay.
It's pretty well defended. So.
But just because not Piper. Who was there? No, it was Piper.
Yeah, it is Piper.
So she was a good mayor. You mentioned earlier I'm not doing anything with the Minutemen, so therefore I can do whatever settlements I want. What happens if you open up all the settlements and then go do the Minutemen? What if you do it in reverse? What issue does that create?
Yeah, I can't imagine it would. I don't know.
No.
I've never done it that way.
It's kind of like if you build everything Sturgis is going to want ahead of time, and then you go talk to him, and he's like, yeah, we need beds. Got him. Yeah, we need water. Already did it. Yeah, we need defenses. Look at all these turrets.
Hey.
You know what I mean? You can easily anticipate their needs. And probably the same with Preston. Basically, though, can you imagine? Like, it'd be like just mega Preston all at once. It'd be this, then this, then this, then attack the castle, like all in one conversation.
Already did it, dude.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So, and it worked out pretty good. So what quest did I do? So somebody sent me to, shoot, now I can't think of who did it. Somebody sent me to Corvega, but not the inside, just the outside.
Really? What would send you to Corvega on the outside?
Yeah, I should have written that down.
Was it possibly Pam related with like the
No.
or Tinker Tom with the weather
One of
devices
the
or
drop-
Mila?
It was the Mila.
Yep.
Yep.
on the
Yeah,
roof
Tinker
or
Tom
something?
sent me to the roof of to put down the Mila, which I wanted to go and get the bobblehead, so that it helps with power armor, power consumption,
Must be repair.
because I can't get nuclear physicist. So I was able to.
You're using lots of power armor?
I haven't yet. So I did go right over by Pickman's Gallery. There's a nice set of T-45 in a novice locked cage,
Mm-hmm.
and so I got into that and then jumped in the water and walked across the bottom of the river
Oh, joy.
all the way back to Hangman's Alley.
Oh, Lord. It took 3 hours.
It was a long, slow trip, but there's all kinds of fun stuff to look at the bottom of the river.
A refrigerator with a piece of mute fruit in it. Oh, goodness.
But
You said you might skip Crew Manor and the lighthouse?
yeah,
What-
Croup Manor and the lighthouse. Those are just that's trouble I don't need.
Yeah, it's near the
Um,
water, but is it really with those cliffs and I mean, and the trouble?
Yeah.
See, the lighthouse has a bunch of children of Adam, right? What's a Croup Manor?
Ghouls.
Ghouls. Okay.
Lots and lots of ghouls.
Is that the one
But
with the,
also the extended
basement?
attacks too. Being in the area, if you think about it, Andrew, like when your settlement's under attack, things wandering in, they're often going to be, it's further away and higher level.
Mm-hmm.
So I did try out the Journeys mod.
Excellent.
What's that one?
I have man, I am just falling all over the names tonight.
It's all good.
Sheffield.
Hmm.
Sheffield is my purveyor between Abernathy and
Oh, nice.
where did I send him? I think he's going to Tappington Boathouse.
Okay, so between the two, and so you've got local leader 2, obviously, that you can set up your provisioner supply lines. Now,
No, just the first level.
that's all you need is first. Second is for setting up shops.
Second is for the
Okay.
shops.
Building the crafting stuff, right?
Yeah. But so it works pretty good. So if you can actually, if you see Sheffield, you can enter into a dialogue with him to initiate the fast travel.
Mhm.
And it gives you 2 options. So the first one is you can travel with him for 75 caps, or you can give him stuff to take and deposit in the workshop at the other place for 50 caps.
That's really neat. Okay, so and that's if you run into him on the road.
Yeah.
So there are a bunch of settings you can tweak in it, and this is Journey. This is the settlement fast travel. Lets you travel with your prisoners. So from your settlement to your settlement, you can just travel without paying caps, right? Or it's like a small amount.
I think it's 75 caps.
It's still 75. But then if you meet him on the road, you can offload your stuff.
See, I activated that one too, and I was sort of messing around with it. And I sent purveyors away from my settlement, and I clicked on them to see what it, and like just like you described, it's like if you want to travel with them, a 75. If you just want to give them some stuff, you can. It's 50, and they'll take the materials for you. But if you want to just fast travel directly, there's no charge for fast travel.
There's no charge.
No, because
Okay.
I've done a little bit. I'm trying not to fast travel all over the place, but I've done a few fast travels like back up to Red Rocket and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
but that the fast travel is free of charge. But they will take materials for you, which I thought, oh wow, that's awesome. But if you have a purveyor set up, aren't your workbenches already linked? So therefore, you don't really need to share the junk.
workbenches are, but if you run it, you could give it to him out of your inventory.
Okay, instead of having to run back somewhere and toss it.
Right.
Okay.
So it's a great way to offload and not be over cucumbered.
Yep. Over pickled.
It's almost like a scrap kit.
Oh, we've seen those before.
Yeah. So Yeah, so I'm gonna skip out on. I might do egrets, kind of open up that portion of the waterway,
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
but maybe not because I don't really have any major reason to be down there.
Now, besides avoiding fights, okay, besides avoiding conflict, is it faster swimming for you too? Like, is there a real benefit to it?
Yeah, you never fight anything.
Okay, so it is faster just by, by fact of not fighting. I mean, that means less XP for you too. But I mean, I know
That's
you and
true.
Andrew have been talking about the advent of swimming, and I have not yet swum at all. I don't know if I mean, I don't know if I've ever been in the water to swim yet this playthrough. So I know you guys are talking about that, getting Aqua Girl. Haven't done it yet.
Yeah, it's quite handy and very addictive.
Oh, yeah, especially
But
survival.
it does pay to get the magazine.
It does. Ray, was there any other gameplay stuff you want to mention?
I think that was the bulk of it.
Sounds good.
I did clear out the National Guard training yard for the fine folks at Nordhagen Beach.
Oh, yeah?
And that was heart pumping.
Do you have to find the burnt out power armor before the body will spawn in the corner for the Brotherhood of Steel stuff?
No.
No, that body's already there, and the radio beacon thing and all that's there.
Yeah.
Cool. I stumbled in there too, and I was just wondering. It's like because I had just found the burnt out power armor like the day before, and then I went in there and I was like, oh, someone else sent me here, but I'll go ahead and click off this part of the quest as well for the Brotherhood while I'm here, and so that was convenient. All right. Hey, Jess, how about you? Did you get a chance to play any Fallout this week?
Oh, I sure did, guys. I sure did. So I'm going to jump the rails a little bit on our Fallout 4 survival playthrough just to quickly mention Fallout 76. Game still exists, guys. People still
Gasp.
playing it, having fun.
It's
Not
true. I
everyone-
did do a Mothman event.
There you go. Not everyone
Wow.
on Scorecation. But yeah, the Mothman event, I did a couple of Equinoxes. So my gameplay there, after the show last week, I realized I am falling behind on rank and such. So Marigolds and I were going to have a play date, and we had a game that we wanted to play. A play date, you know what I mean? Just sometimes with friends, you try to make times to meet up to if you're going to play a game together. Because when you are busy and don't play every day anymore, you got to make time. So we had this fun monster game I wanted to play called Monster Prom. It's a little monster dating simulator. You go in, you're going to Monster High. Everybody's creepy. You're trying to, get a date for the prom. It's hilarious. It's a really good time. It's funny. So we finally had time to play that. We played a couple rounds of that, and they're like, okay, that's good. That's enough of that. Let's play some 76. So we went and did our 76, and we did, as a goal, we did all the dailies and weeklies. So that's really continued to be my thing. With less Fallout 76 right now, especially with the Fallout 4 Roundtable starting the last couple weeks, it's just been once a week, getting all my weeklies, getting all my dailies. That was a great time, and we did. Marigolds and I, we got all our weeklies and dailies. I got up to about 82 last weekend, and then over the course of this week, doing all of them again on my own, got up to about 90.
Yeah.
So I can taste that scorecation is on the horizon.
Getting close.
And I was so tempted to buy it because, I'm getting close. I got some atoms burning a hole in my pocket, but I decided not to.
Whatever. They
So-
give you back half the atoms anyway. Just right.
You do get a lot, and it's double XP weekend this weekend, too. So, this would be a great time if you're going to try to actually do some XP grinding and get score at the same time. Well worth it, for sure.
Score.
So that was really my 76 play, was just that, because first week of the month, UW went off. So had some good 76 with Marigolds this weekend. Besides that, though, a lot of Fallout 4 survival, because just like the rest of you, I have the bug. So as of last show, I think I talked about how I had locked up in Concord, crashed a few times, but after my stream, I went and got everybody back to Sanctuary, and then got up to about almost level 10 via building. So I made it from level 5 to level 10 via building XP. Well, obviously, I felt kind of silly about that. I'm like, okay, Ray is out there actually adventuring. Andrew is going hither and yon, admittedly avoiding enemies, but still hither and yon. And I haven't been south of Concord or east of Concord, really. Like, I was in the tightest little square. So, and yes, I saw you just type idiot savant that you want to mention, and that really has helped me level too. But so I have to leave my square. Okay, so this past weekend, Saturday, Sunday, when I wasn't doing 76, I did a lot of more survival playthrough. So I finished up in Sanctuary and I went to finally talk to Abernathy Farms. Met them, got all that, and said, okay, I'll do their locket quest. Now, I'd heard that it was a little bit difficult. Like, Jess, when you get out there and actually start fighting in survival, it's going to be hard. But it wasn't that bad. I went and did the Olivia Raider Station, and I went up the North Way. You know how there's that downed vertibird to the east of Sanctuary before you get to Olivia? So I purposefully did try to avoid enemies while doing this, and I went a little bit north and then east. And found my first legendary enemy there was one of the Radstags were legendary.
Oh, nice.
Which, it's neat how that is more exciting in 4 again. Because I got my first, obviously you get your first legendary weapon from that. And it was I believe it's a resilient pistol. Anyway, it's a great one for my character since I'm already using pistol. It was a 10 millimeter like I was using.
Wow.
Yeah, the perfect weapon for me. So immediately went to that and modded it as soon as I could. Then I got to Olivia. I made it through. It was a little bit dangerous. I do think, I snuck a lot, but I took care of them before I got in there. Honestly, the mole rats outside gave me more trouble than the raiders. But once I got in, I was very cautious, did a lot of sneaking. And I essentially, you know how you're on the catwalks above the lower area in that one? So I tossed my grenades from the catwalk into bouncing in the door where the minigun area is. I don't remember what the minigun lady's name is. I want to say... Yes, Ak. I was going to say rah rah. And I'm like, that's not right. So I got half of Ak's XP there and one of her buddies' HP. So I took them out without dying, but it was close. I was definitely living on the edge in that area, but I handled it. Got all the things, went back to Abernathy, and I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm actually getting some XP, and it's amazing how much faster you level in survival. I said that some last week. Still the case at this point. I probably got to like a solid level 11 just doing this quest, almost 12. So I get back and then I start building in Abernathy because of course I do. Just a little bit, you know what I mean? Just kind of settling it up. If I take over a settlement, and I don't know about you guys and how you do it, but to me it's very important that as soon as you get a settlement, you make sure there's enough food, beds, water, and defenses to maximize them so their happiness won't drop below 50 or so. You know what I mean? Classic formula. You need to have more beds than people. You want to have at least as much food as people. And then you want to, have your defense, your food plus water. Is that what it is still? Food plus water? Am I misremembering? I usually do 2 times food plus water.
Yeah, no, just as long as you cover food plus water.
What are the repercussions if they're very upset? Like if it gets down to like 10% happiness or something?
They could leave you, Andrew. They could. Well, first they'll send you a strong
no,
letter.
You saved me the hassle of protecting you all the time. Oh, darn.
Ak. Lee says reminds him of Mars Attacks. Absolutely.
Ak.
Too funny. But yeah, so no, if they get very annoyed with you, they may eventually leave you. But first you get a note that you're in danger, it could happen, and then they might secede and say, well, the Minutemen can't take care of us, they're no help at all. And if you want to keep with the reputation of the Minutemen, I wouldn't do that. Yeah. In other words, you don't care. But yeah, first thing I do when I take over is make sure they got the stuff. So I did all those basics and stuff and went back and I'm feeling real good. But I am carrying a lot of stuff. So I am finding in survival, it's interesting. You can only go so far and then you really have to get home to, make sure you scrap, store, repair, upgrade your stuff. Because in Fallout 4, until you have supply lines, you're not able to access your other stuff. And if you hit a random workbench out there, you want to mod your armor. Well, you don't have what you need to mod your armor. You get this awesome new legendary pistol. You're like, ooh, I'm going to fix it up at this random workbench I found. No, you can't.
No, you're not.
If you don't have the junk in your inventory and you're not at a settlement, you're not going to be able to do it. So it's neat seeing these things again in survival. I've enjoyed that. Anyway, after I did Abernathy, I said, okay, let's explore more. And I hadn't really done a whole lot in Concord. I know, I said I'm going to be on Concord. But to start, I just started exploring. I went, let me see every building. Let me go through it all as best I can. And it was just neat to look at everything. That speakeasy, it's funny. I thought the Concord speakeasy was part of a mod, but it's not, right? It's actually part of the...
Yeah, it's a regular game.
Yeah, so I was excited to see that was still there because I didn't install one of my, the Stumble on Interiors, I think, the larger mod that affects Concord. I didn't install that. I went into the Concord Underground And that was an adventure in survival because, especially with the mods I have and such, it's definitely darker in there. So the Conquered Underground, of course, is where the Death Claw comes from when he pops out and attacks you. But there are a couple passages to get there. And I used the one kind of on the north side of Conquered that looks like a, it's, the cellar doors, the like storm door for cellars. So I went through there and explored the whole thing. And that was fun because it was dangerous in there. It's so dark. You're getting attacked by ghouls and mole rats. And it was just really fun to explore the whole thing. And in survival, like already you're seeing the difference. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm feeling danger. So that was really fun. I finished up that and leveling up. I mentioned last week, we talked about Lone Wanderer and I said I was going to get it. And, I talked about how it could be a lifesaver with the plus 15 at level 1, plus 15% attack or like damage resistance and then plus 50 carry weight. And Ray said, maybe it's halved, maybe it's only 25 in survival. No, turns out it is plus 50. So what's excellent is I got it here. And then a little bit later in my adventures, I actually got the second level. So that gave me plus 100 carry weight, plus 100 carry weight for 2 levels of Lone Wanderer and plus 30 damage resistance. So you guys, this is I'm not going to say a win perk, but it makes a huge difference in survival. Now the trade-off is you can't have a companion, okay? And obviously companions help, they do damage, they carry your stuff, obviously they carry your burdens. So, there is a trade-off, but it's worth it. When I realized this, I dismissed Codsworth and I said, Codsworth, you stay here. And because I'm running the everyone's best friend, I can have dog meat with me and he doesn't count. So, yeah, it's just dog meat. He doesn't do the damage or whatever of the companions and stuff and, can't pick locks or anything. But I still have dog meat and I've got this perk. And so it's working out really well for me.
Yeah. And in the vanilla game, you could have dog meat and it wouldn't count against Lone Wanderer.
Oh, good. Yeah. Good. I'm glad. I didn't know if that was because of the perk or not. So I'm glad to know that it's not even cheating because I felt a little bit cheaty. I'm like, oh, geez, I'm getting this bonus that I shouldn't have. But
yeah, no, that was always an option.
Which is one of the many reasons why they talk about how the original system was probably set up to be able to have dog meat and a companion, and then just wasn't implemented that way because he doesn't count as a companion for a lot of things. So,
yeah.
Do you guys remember early on in Fallout 4 before they patched it out, where you could go get dog meat and then take him back to Vault 111 and get the cryolator? You could, you could tell dog meat.
You still can in some cases, right? Ray did it not too long ago. We were talking about that during one of the streams that some people can still make it happen, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I just haven't tried. I thought they patched that out.
Yeah.
Nope.
And, and if you play on PC, all you do is walk up to it,
hit the console and then make magic
type
happen.
Type unlock.
Okay, Clint.
And then,
no, that's good.
The door opens up for you.
Yeah, that's good. That and can't really make fun of that because obviously mods are making different ways. Just another way of modding. Just don't go full god mode. But so anyway, continue with my gameplay. So I did all this. I wanted to mention Lone Wanderer. Everything was good. Well, at this point, I'm like, okay, I did these quests. I've explored Concord. I've done the stuff for Abernathy. I have to go further. I have to do more. Okay. So maybe survival isn't that bad.
You're still a quarter mile from home.
Yeah. I'm also like level 12 now. And I'm realizing that how the leveling works in Fallout 4 and Skyrim by region. So that by just staying in like this tight area by Concord, all the other regions are going to be leveled up because the level of certain cells and regions in Fallout, just like the other games, are essentially set when you first enter them for a period of time. So if you enter a location, if you run all over the map at level 5, like some of you guys are doing, creatures in those areas, at least for a while, are going to spawn at a lower level because of when you first set that level entering them. Whereas if you first enter an area at level 20 or 30, they're going to spawn higher. Okay, so like say your character is less than level 10. Max level of the creatures you're going to fight are generally level 10. Still, southeast, southeast, west, they're still harder, but the level ranges, the way they work, they're set lower. Okay, so if you're say level 10 to 20, the cap on enemies are going to be up to 20. In a lot of regions, and that's just how it works. So I wanted them to spawn on the lower side. Well, I mean, I wanted them to not spawn on the higher side is really what's happening because they're already too late to spawn on the lower side. So I'm like, I'm going to go south and I'm going to at least make it to Diamond City or like my assigned settlement of Oberland. So I started going. Now, I ran into the synths just outside Concord that you often do, and they kicked my ass the first time. I was not prepared for how much tougher fighting 3 or 4 synths would be compared to fighting the mole rats and ghouls I had so far, and raiders. So I had to reload there twice, but ultimately I took care of them, got their weapons and all that, and then from there I started heading directly south. Came across Starlight Drive-In was the first one I got to. So just so you know, I dropped like a map marker on Oberland since that was where I was, that's my assigned settlement. I'm like, I gotta at least get Oberland. That's my assigned settlement. Let's go. So I found Starlight on the way and I forgot about the mines on the edge and I totally blew myself up. Here I am like in survival thinking I'm a badass, haven't saved in a while. And I'm just sneaking and then it's like, beep, beep, beep. And I'm like, I start to run, not far enough. Okay. So big time death. Eventually I took it. I almost blew myself up twice. I was so close because I remembered there was a mine inside of the drive-in, the actual screen. There's the one halfway up in the screen. And I got it just in time. Like it was so bad. I was such a panic, like hitting all the buttons, opening my Pip-Boy, almost tossing grenades and all that, but I managed to get it before it exploded. So I got that and cleaned it up. It looks good. It didn't really build, but went from there. Then went south. And going south, I see Grey Garden and all that, but I'm like, I'm going to avoid that stuff. You know what I mean? I'm avoiding enemies. I'm now taking kind of a tip from you guys. Like, don't always fight. Because I wanted to get south and I didn't want to die on the way. I wanted to at least make it to Oberland. So going directly through there, get the Cambridge radio down from Cambridge, and I cross to the Beantown Brewery, where we do the Travis quest. So there's kind of a straight line, finding a few locations. I looked at Corvega, but I avoided it. I have the quest to go to 10 Pines from Preston. Haven't done it yet. We're actually talking about in chat earlier in the show, talking about 10 Pines, and it's funny. Katherine asked, she said, does anybody else like just totally ignore 10 Pines or never build it up because you resent them for sending you to Corvega? Thought that was hilarious. I haven't, but subconsciously maybe I have because I've never built them anything nice.
Yeah, I usually build them a turret and that's it.
There you go. Like, here, this will take care of you. I go there a bit because it's, one of the easiest places to meet Lucas, and get some of the better armor early in the game. So anyway, I'm going down and I don't go into the Beantown Brewery, but I'm just searching. I fight some mongrels on the way and a few tough things, but I survive. Make it to Oberland. Well, Oberland, once I find them, obviously you can't just take the settlement. You haven't gotten a mission to go there. So they're like, we need help. Raiders attacking us. And they want me to go to, of course, Backstreet Apparel, which,
They want a hat.
top 10 locations to be sent. No, top 4 locations to be sent by any settler for mission or Radiant Quest. They love Backstreet Apparel.
Absolutely.
Well, that wasn't on my list. So I said, you know what? I'm doing okay. I'm going to keep going south. So, I did sleep in the bed there. I talked to the kids. I don't remember what their names are, Lacey or whatever. Actually, yeah, in mine, because I'm running a mod that gives settlers names, everybody has names, which is nice. So I'm like, I'm going to start locking levels. I'm going to go south. I'm going to go, how far south can I go? Let's make this work. So I'm just going down the railroad tracks and I'm living dangerously. You run into obviously ghouls at the first couple trains. I made it through that okay. Nice. Okay, barely, but I made it through. And then I keep going. I run into, the area where you first hit the overpass and there's like a little guard house and you can go down into the trench to go, through into the city. I handled a couple of raiders there. And then further on, there's that bridge, the big orange bridge that sticks out. And I was actually sniping a lot of them. I was pretty proud. We did great there. So I'm feeling like a boss, okay? At this point, I'm more than halfway down the map. I'm like, basically like level or even further south in Diamond City and almost getting to South Boston.
Nice.
Then you run into a location, and you might know what I'm about to say, where there are a couple of pods with protectrons. Okay, a couple of construction protectrons. And I'm like, oh, kick-ass, yellow construction protectrons, they'll be tough, but I can do this. So I'm sneaking, and I'm getting in there. And as soon as I cross the threshold of the gate, it starts going, wrapped, wrapped, wrapped. And, like, all the lights are flashing. And I'm like, what the muffins did I just do? Well, turns out the big building behind them was also a pod, and this big-ass sentry bot with missiles. And, oh, my gosh, he was loaded for bear, and I'm not a bear. So I stood no chance.
Run away.
So I reloaded and I tried to do it again. And it was a similar result. I only had to fight a few of the enemies on my way down, but I got there again and a similar result. So the third time, okay, and the second time down, I saved around the raiders at the Crooked Bridge. And I'm like, okay, I only got to do one little fight. I can do this. So he comes out. Meanwhile, I'm running and skulking under his bridge. And he finds me, but I keep running and kiting. He's shooting. Dogmeat's distracting him. We keep running, and we start running down the tracks. Okay, or like maybe it's a road there. Yeah, it's a road actually, right under where he comes out. And he's following us, and then he runs into a Deathclaw because there's a Deathclaw there.
Nice.
So we're skulking in the bushes, and this Deathclaw and this Sentry Bot are fighting, and it's epic and it's beautiful. And I get a hit on the Deathclaw, so I get XP, which was great. But the Sentry Bot totally took out the Deathclaw, so no wonder I was dying. But at this point, the Sentry Bot's at about 75% health. And then he sees me again. So I keep running east.
Oh, hello
He's trekking
there.
along behind me on the road. And suddenly I hear, boop, 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 or, imagine the suicider sound. Because I realized I'm in the middle of, what is it there? Is it Medford? It's not Malden. It's something that starts with an M. Milton. That's it. Milton. With the park garage and the super mutants there with the medical center, and everybody's got skulls on their heads. Sentry Bot has skulls on his heads. They have skulls on. Everybody's got a skull on their head, and I'm like, fantastic! It's Halloween. So, anyway, I kite the Sentry Bot in there, and I managed to shoot a couple of super mutants with their blinking arms, so they blow up, which is great. Cascading, blowing up, and I'm running and hiding like a baby, just north of the parking garage. They and the Sentry Bot fight a bit. Sentry Bot kills two, and then wanders back off his direction, and he's still there back and forth. Like, he's my nemesis. Like, a month from now, I'm going to actually go and tackle him and take care of business. But meanwhile, I got some good XP from Super Mutants, the couple I hit, and I managed to escape with all that. So from there, I'm like, okay, this, I had my fun. Let's just save it here. But, I'm like, I got to start heading back to this city. So I go north, and I get to a place called Fairline Estates. And I'm like, Fairline Estates, isn't there something dangerous here?
Yeah, it should be called Bearline Estates.
Goodness knows. I was thinking there was like a glowing one or something. I'm like, it can't be that bad. So I'm going in sneaky, and then it's like, Yaogwai.
Yeah.
Not
that's like
one, but two.
It's like a circular neighborhood, right? And you sort of walk out into the middle of the
and sometimes
the green,
three.
Right. Wow.
It was the worst. By the skin of my teeth, I did survive this. I did not die to either Yaogwai. I managed to pull them one at a time. Dogmeat and I ran out of ammo on my 10 millimeter. At this point, I'm using a mix of the 44 and the 10 millimeter. And I have, I have a laser pistol too. So I'm using a mix of all three. I take them both out, and then I'm starting to take pictures because I'm like, Mighty Hunter killed the Yaogwai, and I'm taking pictures there. And then, of course, a glowing one comes out from the side. I'm like, there was a glowing one too. Oh no. So anyway, finished that and started heading back to Boston, better part of Valor. So what I've done from there was I scouted the edge of like the South Boston police station, the edge of Boston. I started to go up, but there's an apartment building there with a bunch of super mutants, and they saw me, and I had to run away scared. Yeah. So I went around the river to by Vault 81, which around the river, around the pond. The large pond there or lake west of Boston proper. Yep. With Vault 81. Well, in that house, and I read that story about the man who lost his wife, and he's staying there like they used to. He and his Brahmin, and they're attacked by bloat flies, and you remember that whole story. Mm-hmm. It's touching. And he lost the locket, which was his last thing to remember of his wife. So unfortunately, he drowned. But I went and I actually found his body, and I found the locket and all the stuff. So
nice.
I don't know if I'd ever found the locket before. Like, I scoured underwater pretty closely. I found like him and stuff he dropped before, but found the locket. And so I made it into Vault 81. I've done the tour with Austin, and I've just got the mission to go find Ashes at this point. So I'm going to go back out, find Ashes, and then I'm going to do Vault 81 because my assigned companion is Curie. So that's kind of my Fallout 4 gameplay. And it was a big, long story. I had major adventures here. But the thing that's so funny about this is that the further I got away, and as I'm going through all this, I'm realizing you're right on the edge of overcucumbered. You're dying, you're running out of ammo. You can't fast travel. In survival, how do you make it home? What do you do? So it's such a different feeling, that every time you adventure, before you have new, supply lines set up and new settlements set up, you're at a loss. So that's why I went to Vault 81, because getting in there, I was able to talk to people, find the guys in the depot and actually sell some stuff. Yeah. And, finally get less cucumbered and get a little ammo, sell some stuff, but yeah, you become so much more dependent. It makes it feel like a wild wasteland where people and settlements are your lifeline, and without them, you're gonna fail. So I thought that's just really neat. And as I'm leveling up, I should probably be able to get local leader 1 within 2 or 3 more levels. And then I'll be able to, I'm going to do Back Bay Apparel and get Oberlin. And then I'll be able to set up Oberlin to connect to, say, Red Rocket or Sanctuary or something, go back and forth. And then I'll do 10 Pines in Corvega. I have a plan, and I will slowly expand. But in these early days, it is rough.
Yeah. Well, when I hit the encumbered, whatever, that's my cue. Time to open up the Pip-Boy, drop anything that's not absolutely necessary that you need to sell, and time to go back home. Like in survival mode, that is my time to head back home for a minute. That's always my when I hit
It really does change the way you play, and it is fun to be bold and do that sort of thing. I'm really glad I did, and it is funny when you see what I've discovered on my Pip-Boy map. Like, it's just like a little straight line of things. Where I ran down and then ran back.
Yeah.
But that's fun.
And that's good because each one of those little places gives you 25 XP.
Yep. I would like to discover more, but I think I'm level 14 now is where I'm at. So, I got a couple of levels on doing all that as well. And that'll be fun. I love it. I was going to obviously stream more on Wednesday night, but actually Wednesday during the day. So the other game I played a ton of this week, while working and such, but I did take Wednesday off. I played a lot of Redfall, which is, you were talking about, Ray, new game that came out from Arcane Studios. And I started playing it. We got access to it Monday night. So I played some Monday night and then again Tuesday, because on Wednesday I was doing a sponsored stream with Tuniversal during the day. So Tuniversal is a larger Bethesda streamer. And he asked a few of us to come in and join him all week while he kind of features Redfall. So I played with him for 4 hours, and Redfall, definitely fun. We can get into more with Iguana bits. I want to make sure Andrew gets to his gameplay next. We talk about it, but I don't know. I'm having fun with it, just like you, Ray, right? You said you're having fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little empty, but it's not a bad game at all, despite the really bad reviews. But
I'm seeing so many parallels to Fallout 76 now. Everyone hates it, and it's empty.
Actually, to be fair, it really does feel like a first year or first 6 months Fallout 76 in a lot of ways. I mean, Redfall is a shooter. Okay, we'll get into it now. Redfall is a shooter. It's by Arcane. It has some of the stylization, like Ray's talking about, like Dishonored. Like, it does have that kind of stylization for sure. But it is much more of a kind of a co-op shooter. So you can play it solo, and essentially it drops you on a map. And like a game like Left 4 Dead, Back 4 Blood, or some people have been comparing it to Far Cry 2, there's a whole open world map you can discover, find locations, and slowly, take over areas, reclaim areas, and rebuild while you're leveling up and getting lots of loot. It's a pretty cool format. I like it, but the world is a little bit empty, for sure. It does have some real jank and some bugs early on where the enemy AI especially isn't great. Did you have that often, Ray, where the AI wasn't actually attacking you? Because I haven't, but I've seen a lot of other people who played on PC say they have.
No, I got attacked plenty.
Yeah.
And I've only played it solo, but also I'm playing a sniper, so...
You don't want to be around other people, right?
So you're taking a lot of them out before they have a chance to even really attack you or see you.
Yeah. So really my only knock on it is that if you're on a mission and you're, in a spot where you're like I was delivering a watch to the graveyard, and
yes, for the doctor. Mm-hmm.
So I was attacked by a bunch of vampires in the graveyard, and they killed me, and I, respawned at the safe house that I had just opened up.
Safe house or firehouse, kind of like 76. And your death doesn't destroy you; you just respawn.
Yeah. So I went back, and was ready to, start fighting those vampires again, and they were gone.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that can happen. Sometimes I wonder if after each death, some things reset. So, like for instance, if you loot a bunch of stuff, and then you die and respawn and you go back there, the stuff will be there to loot again. Like things respawn pretty quickly. But also the area where enemies are, maybe they wandered over from somewhere nearby and they just didn't wander over this time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's been interesting. I'm enjoying it. The controls are different and it is much more a shooter. I mean, the thing about it, a lot of the complaints, I mean, there are a bunch. So I haven't had the AI issues, but I played solo entirely except for the stream with Tune. And there do seem to be more bugs and issues when you're playing with co-op. So people playing solo, you probably have less of that. But yeah, it's super lonely. And the NPCs, the characters that you're playing are cool. The setting of Redfall, Massachusetts is actually kind of creepy and arcane and cool. And from what I've heard, there's more life to the game as you go, even though it's kind of repetitive. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I've just really loved the stealth aspect, like you're talking about, Ray. Like, I'm not playing stealthy sniper. Like, I'm never using the actual sniper rifle. But I am kind of sniping to start with pistols. You know what I mean? I'm playing Remy, and so her things are having her bot, Bribon, who can be a distraction. By the way, Bribon in Spanish is like rascal or like naughty boy or whatever. So it's kind of cute that her little robot goes in and causes a ruckus. But so that and C4 and she heals. So she's a pretty good support all around character, and I'm doing well with her. So I'm sniping a little bit, but yeah, I've only done like I just got to the first underboss in Shade Tree Heights. Have you done that yet, Ray?
No.
Okay, so you went and you did the doctor's quest next. So I did the doctor's quest, but then instead of doing the next main quest in that line, I went and did my first safe house quest, where I took back the safe house for Shade Tree Heights, did everything around it, found more supply crates. You actually fight some of the mercenaries, and now I'm doing the underboss. So that's where I am there. Anyway, I don't want to talk about it too much, but yeah, Redfall. You guys are going to hear a lot of bad things about it. It's scoring like in the 60s Metacritic. Personally, I'd give it a 70 to 75. It's not great. It's a little bit empty. There's not a whole lot to it. It's not what anyone expected from Arcane in a lot of ways. But if you're looking for a fun game to shoot and listen to podcasts, I mean, it's kind of like Fallout in that way, when you put on the radio and just shoot, or you put on a podcast and just go around and explore and, shoot things. This game is very much like that. So, and it's vampires, which is awesome.
I like how Jess is trolling people by saying good things about it.
Oh, telling my dames about that. Yeah. So, there are a bunch of threads about it that are just really negative, and I like some bad reviews. So I've jumped in and said positive things there just to see what happens. And I mean, not even super positive. Like, yeah, I'm actually having fun with it. The shooting is bad, 75, blah, blah, blah. And oh my gosh, how much is Arcane paying you? It must be fun to be wrong. Like all that great stuff. And I'm just laughing and trolling a little bit. Yeah. But
hilarious.
You can troll with positivity too, guys. I would never be toxic positivity, but I'll be honest and just, be friendly. Yeah. It's kind of funny.
I always like following Dwight's comments on stuff. He does that positive trolling. Yeah, he's really good at that.
Yeah, he really is.
Oh.
But that's all my gameplay. I want to get to you, Andrew, because we got feedback to get to you too.
Oh, sure thing. Well, I made a whole slew of a list of stuff I wanted to get done on the last episode, like at the merchant's tent from Bunker Hill. I managed to do that. You go and talk to the one lady. She sends you up to the training yard, and you come back and you talk to the other lady, and you go do something for her, and then you can build that thing. So I've got the merchant tent. I'm excited to get that. I also got the swim magazine that was mentioned earlier, and just by happenstance, I stumbled through the Starlight Drive-In, and through VATS noticed, oh wait, there's a bottle cap mine over there in sort of like the little diner area. So I went and I snagged that, and I was like, oh great, here. And then let's go get that swim magazine. And then as I was on my way there, I recall Ray saying, oh, there's a glowing one in there. So I was thinking, oh man, this is going to be bad. So I hopped down there, and I'm thinking, well, Ray mentioned that his way to get the perception bobblehead is just to run right through it and grab it and go. So I'm thinking, well, maybe I can do that with the magazine, just run right through. Well, it wasn't quite that easy, because up at the top of the landing there, not only Ray mentioned a glowing one, there were two fucking glowing ones in there. And I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah.
So it took a couple reloads, but eventually I got it set up where I got the bottle cap mine up near the top of the landing without them seeing me, and then going back down the ramp, and then firing some shots up, and then running down, and then boom, and it killed one of them and got the other one down like 90%. So I just had to
Nice.
pop a couple shots into his leg so he wouldn't chase down the hill, and yeah, so I got the swim magazine. Was pretty awesome, but I just happened to get that bottle cap mine, and without that bottle cap mine, there's no way I would have been able to get up that ramp to get those get past those glowing ones.
Glowing ones, those rads are no joke in survival. You know what I mean? It adds up.
Well, they swipe me with one arm, and I'm dead. They one shot me every fucking time. It's crazy.
And even when they don't, I mean, you have to take a rat away or whatever, and then you end up being thirsty or hungry or more susceptible to illness.
And then I can't use my VATS as much because your meter's going down. Yeah, exactly.
I'm finding even with my canteen and the extra hydration from it, still have to drink water because of other things. So like it'll do maintain, but as soon as you do, you use your drugs or whatever, you're going to get parched.
Yeah, exactly. Well, another big step I wanted to get under my belt was to get a new outfit. I wanted an Endurance 2 outfit that I could wear armor on. And so all of my research was turning up that all of these Endurance ones, you can't wear the armor on top. Oh, well, look at this Endurance. Oh, you can't wear armor on top. And so I was like, okay, how about the one Endurance ones? And even those, I was going and I was purchasing all the Endurance outfits I could find, and nothing. And then Ray's like, oh, you want the green shirt with combat boots. And I'm like, first of all, how the fuck did you just pull that out of your back pocket that... There is one Endurance outfit that you can wear your armor with. Like, and I was just like, is this just from experience, or like you Googled it, or what? I was like, gee, many Christmas.
Yeah, it's in the wiki.
Because I was just looking at the description for every outfit, and it was like Endurance +2. No, you cannot wear armor. Endurance +1 charisma. No, you cannot wear armor. So I guess I skipped over the combat boots one because I didn't see that in the description. Every single outfit I purchased or was looking up and everything, if it had endurance on it, no armor. Endurance and armor do not go together. But Ray was like,
first
"Oh no,
off,
you want this one."
You have to avoid anything that's called an outfit, because if it's an outfit, you're going to be severely limited to what kind of armor you can wear with it. Most outfits, all you can wear is a headpiece. If you're really lucky, you could also wear arms.
Okay, so actually the word outfit signifies something with the statistics where it limits. Okay, that's interesting. I never made that connection. Okay.
Yeah, and clothing is essentially what would be Under Armour. It's clothing is what you can wear anything over top of.
Okay, so I'm sure I misstated the actual title of the article that I was wearing. Was it green?
No, it's the green shirt and combat boots.
Green shirt and combat boots is the one endurance outfit. It's not an outfit. It's combat boots.
There are other outfits that have +1 endurance, there's clothing that has +1 endurance, but you find those in Nuka World.
Yeah, they're the bottle and cappy shirt and jeans, or the Nuka World jacket and stuff like that. I was noticing that you could get those, but I was like, well, I'm not leveled enough to get up to Nuka World quite yet. So
yeah,
I was looking for,
and it's so much easier to get the green shirt and boots. So
yeah, and I found a list of where those all are, and they can randomly spawn places too, evidently. But I found a set at the is it called the Charleston Amphitheater? That's there on the river.
Charles.
The Charles Amphitheater there, right on the river. with all those the people at sort of the stage outside, and you sneak back in there, and there's a pair in the back. So I stole that, and without anyone noticing, I've got sneak level 3, so I can pretty much get most places. I can sneak past super mutants without them even smelling me at this point.
So basically, muffle boots is what you're saying.
Yeah, I got the goddamn muffle boots. But I got that endurance outfit, which was very nice.
You
Legendary
got your sea captain's hat.
Sea captain's hat, yeah, from the display case at Longneck Lukowski's. And that was, the location was already up on my map, because if you run a direct line from Abernathy Farm to the, God, what is my settlement called with Goodfields? What is that place?
Sunshine Tidings.
Sunshine Tidings. If you run a straight line, there's a pond there, and on the north side of the pond, there's a hill with a campsite, and that campsite is a random spawn event. Every time I run past, there's different people there, including, which I find very funny, like longtime listeners will know Clint, who we have on the show fairly frequently, and his wife Charlene. But I find one of the events that you can run to is someone named Clint and Charlie. And I was like, oh, hey, it's Clint and Charlene.
Oh, that's great.
But there is one guy who sits there and he's like, oh, I don't feel so good. My stomach hurts. Oh, I'm sorry for the smell. I must be emitting a disgusting odor. I just ate a can of some. So anyway, he's talking about the Longneck Lukowski's rancid meat that he's canning. I don't want to spoil the surprise for anyone who hasn't been over there yet on a 7-year-old game. But so that puts up the map marker for Longneck Lukowski. Anyway, Ray mentioned, oh, yeah, there's a captain's hat in the, there. And I'm just like, did you look that one up, or you just know that there's a display case with the sea captain's
I looked
outfit?
it up.
Okay, he looks all this shit. I was going to be impressed if you knew where all this stuff was.
He knows where a lot of it is. We got to look stuff up sometimes for sure.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's right
'Cause
on.
I don't typically go for the endurance outfits.
Yeah, but
So
I don't either.
I don't
but
naturally
survival,
know where they're at.
Yeah, survival, man. It's I
I
think
guess my
it's helped a lot.
real question for you, and I mean that does help. Like I said,
Yeah.
leveling helps in general too, but that does help. Do you find, like, what is your damage resistance at? What do you got your DR to?
I don't know the
that's gonna
actual
help your
numbers.
damage too.
I don't know the actual numbers, but I can take a bunch of hits now that I have both an endurance hat, endurance outfit, and armorer rank 2 with souped up armor.
So you've done your armor now. Do you have like a mix of leather and metal? Do you have combat yet? What are you looking at?
I've got a combat chest piece, some leather arms. I think I'm up to metal legs, but I just purchased a Wastelander's leg that'll give me negative 15% damage from super
That's a good
mutants
one.
and stuff. So yeah, I'm and I just ran into Lucas Miller right outside of the Medford Hospital, which is loaded with super mutants. So I popped on that piece of armor, and I'm about to run into Medford. And
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Lucas is the man. That's where you get some of those early named pieces. Vault 81 too, since I just got there. I'm excited because they sell a combat armor leg piece that gives you plus 10% movement speed.
oh, those are great.
How great is that, especially for survival? So that is the first piece I'm buying. I think I have enough that I can trade and buy. Just haven't done it yet.
I had 2 pieces that had 10% movement boost, and it really, you notice a big difference running around. It's just like that swim magazine, basically. Speaking of legendary items, I was going to ask how this works. Legendary farming, I know, Ray, you've told me how to do this in the past. Does it have to be an interior cell with a legendary enemy that you once you enter a door, it randomly spawns on the legendary? Like, I forget how this works. I remember you told me at one point how you farm legendary stuff. If you don't like the legendary item, you can reload and do it again. But is that only inside? How do you do that again?
Geez, it's been a long time since I've done that.
But yeah, it's anything instance, right? You go inside and the enemy could be different each time.
But it's not
Yeah,
like
well-
I kill something outside, but I saved like 2 seconds before I killed it. It's not like if I reload and kill it again, it's going to spawn something different.
Yeah.
It will.
So so it depends. So I'm not sure how it works with survival though. So normally what you would do is
Oh, you can't just reload.
you go into a cell and that creates a save. Then you create a quick save. And if you want...
And by cell, you just mean area of the map, not necessarily an inside space. Like crossing a border into a new area of the map.
It works best if you go to an interior space, because then that gives you a separate save from your quick save. If you when you cross into another cell out on in the outside world, you don't get that save point.
Okay.
Because so one of the saves, if you reload it, it will give you the same, like say it's a weapon, you can get the same weapon with a different legendary.
Oh, okay.
If you load the other save, then it'll give you a completely different item
with also a different legendary effect.
With a different legendary.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, I'll have to play around with that to see.
I don't remember which one is which, and I don't know how you do it in survival.
Well, I basically have cheated out of survival since I have that quick save mod or whatever. So I've created a quick save before I found a legendary rad stag, except for the goddamn thing killed me like 8 times while I was trying to figure it out. And then when I did finally kill it, I got like a legendary rolling pin. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah. Well, but see, it's not actually a quick save.
Okay.
So when you use the quick save mod, it creates a auto save.
Okay. So that's
different than a quick save.
Right, yeah, because autosave gets overwritten. Yeah, there's a slight difference. That makes sense.
Huh.
But you have 3 of them, so it wouldn't necessarily be overwritten there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, but the way that the legendary reload function works, it's one way with the autosave when you walk through the door. It's another way with the quick save, which is a different type of save. So I don't know how you would do it in how it would work out.
Yeah.
In survival.
Just randomize everything so I wouldn't get another rolling pin just with a different legendary effect. I'd get a totally different item.
Yep. And only it works when there's a guaranteed legendary in a cell too, right? Yeah. So it's not like a specific. Yeah.
Right.
That makes sense.
Also,
and I mean, it works if there's a legendary in there when you first go in.
Right, because that'll be the same regardless. But once again, autosave is different, you're saying, so it may not reroll. Okay.
So
and more saving issues, not issues, but a great benefit is since I've gotten the 2nd level of Idiot Savant, every time I go to turn in a quest, I will do an autosave there. And if I don't get the Idiot Savant proc, I will keep reloading.
Yeah, are you really doing that this time?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
and,
okay.
I went from this past weekend, I went from level 10 to level 23 in one afternoon.
Level 23? Your character is level 23 now?
Yeah, just because of level 2 Idiot Savant with save scumming.
Yeah, I
go up a whole level every time I turn in a quest. Sometimes 2 levels for turning in a quest.
Yep.
It's pretty awesome.
It can be huge.
So everybody playing now, you're still in survival mode. You're still dealing with all the negatives and all that. So this is just a small workaround, but all these people here struggling in chat going, really, Andrew?
Yeah. And Jess, you'll be happy to know, I built about 400 rubber mats in my camp. Just like 4 different stacks of 100 mats, and that leveled me up like crazy too.
I was everything together. That makes sense.
I was just like, oh man, I need to get chemist and all these. And so I don't want to go out and adventure. I'll just build here for it. So I just build a bunch of rubber mats, and when I ran out of rubber, I built a bunch of metal shelves, and it was just like,
this will get you over the edge because I mean you were having some trouble fighting and surviving. So this will definitely help get you over the edge. And you're not alone. A couple of people playing along with us that I know of are in their 20s. Green Dragon mentioned they're at 28. The majority of us right now are between 10 and 20. Will is at 19 earlier tonight. A lot of people I've asked have said they're at 14 or 15 like me.
Kudos.
So yeah, that's kind of the average.
And one of the problems is, I'm using a 10 millimeter pistol for the most part, sometimes a laser pistol. But the 10 millimeter pistol just wasn't doing a ton of damage. It was in the 20s damage wise. But recently I found 2 different pretty nice pistols, and I've taken maybe up to level 3 of what's the pistolero perk? I forget what it's called, but the pistol gunslinger, and so I'm starting to actually do some damage now. But when I was modding my gun, I was taking the good parts off of other guns to make one super gun. So my damage has gone from like the 20s up to 74 now. So I've got some really good damage.
Done the same. It makes a big difference because if you find a gun with a mod that you can't make yourself at your level, you can make a normal mod, then pocket the one that was on there and put it on your better gun. Yeah, I've done that a couple times. So at this point, you must have your build, Andrew. If you're 23, you must have all your assigned perks.
No, I've got like one chemist or something that I'm not like...
Right on the edge.
And Party Girl. I haven't taken Party Girl yet because I don't drink a lot of alcohol when running around. But I will take those as soon as I get a couple of free levels, and then I'll have at least the first level of all of my assigned perks.
I have everything but big leagues now, so I should have my assigned loadout by level 16 at this point.
See, but I was swapping all the parts together to make my super gun. But I was surprised because I didn't have a couple screws, and I was like, wait a second. I thought that I was just pulling parts off and snapping everything back together. Why do I still need adhesive and screws to do this? It was like it was making me build the mods from scratch.
If you pull off a mod and put on another, you don't. Yeah, as long as you didn't scrap the mod, it should work.
I don't know why it was like I couldn't do it. I don't know what I was doing wrong then.
I mean, you have to, like if you've got a scope, on a gun, in order to get the scope off, you have to build conventional sights,
right,
for that gun.
Oh, you have to. You can't.
In order to remove it,
you can't just snap it off. You have to build the original.
You have to replace it.
You have to build a lower ranking thing. Okay, all right.
Yeah, so that's how I got a large magazine and a compensator. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But if you try to do all of that in one settlement, then you'll have a buildup of random parts, so you'll have a collection of mods in that, stored in your workbench.
They went in my
and
pocket.
So a lot of stuff you can just, you can attach a mod to take another mod off.
I see. Right.
And so, once you've got a good buildup of parts, then you won't have to build anything again.
Well, Jess, I mentioned it's time to go home when I hit the weight limit in survival mode. That's like, you pick up 28 pounds and you're like, well, time to go home. But I am through the one of the mods that lets you tame animals and capture them in cages and take them as companions.
Yes, the Beastmaster thing we were talking about.
Beastmaster, right? Okay, so I still have that loaded, even though I couldn't get. Like, I tried to catch a cat and tried to recruit it, but I couldn't get that to work for some reason. So then I loaded the cat meat mod, where it let me have, my black cat to take out to adventure with me. But it still, through the Beastmaster mod, let me put saddlebags on the cat. So now I have a cat.
Cat meat has the best saddlebags.
Cat meat has some saddlebags. He looks very cute, but the cat can carry an extra 50 pounds now. And Lacey was like, God damn, your cat's going to get crushed by trying to take him out to adventure. But no, it's a very strong kitty. And
how is he doing in combat?
It's hilarious. You know how when dog meat grabs a raider by the foot and like, oh, God damn it, get off me, fuck you, quit. The cat is doing that. Like, so raiders are like trying to kick my cat and stuff, and they're like, ow, no, like screaming when the cat gets too close. It's really funny. I want to take the Vats one where he holds them in place for me too, because I think that'll look hilarious. But it's adorable. He's great. He goes into combat and he does all the same things Dogmeat does. Like when you're running, he jogs in front of you a few paces and then runs off to the left, and then he comes back around, and it's just great. But I did have to put a red bandana on him because I had the chain on because I thought that looked cool, but I just couldn't see him in tall grass. Like he blends in so well, I just can't see him at all. So I put the red bandana on him, and now I can see him a lot better. It's like a little flag for me to follow him around. But I've been enjoying having cat meat around. It's really, really great.
So He must take up less space in the doorway.
The mod writer actually states this. It's like, this is actually, he's the same size as Dogmeat. It doesn't, the box still takes up the same amount of space as.
He's got a large presence. Yeah. He's got a large presence despite the smaller size. Yeah.
So, but I still I haven't activated, but I do still have loaded the push companions mod. So I could kick him out of the way, but I haven't done that yet. I'm not.
I used push on Saturday. Mama Murphy was stuck on the roof, and I had to get her off. And I sent her off the roof, legs akimbo. I felt so bad, but it worked.
Oh, that's great. I like that we had a YouTube listener state that, he liked that we were putting Mama Murphy in jail under the little jungle gym thing, and now he's going to love having Jess push Mama Murphy off the goddamn roof. That's hilarious. But Ray, I remember last week or a couple weeks ago you were saying, the settlements are great, and, because when you don't have any settlers, they're really easy to maintain or whatever. So I was just... Usually the first thing I do is set up the settlement, set up the recruitment beacon, start getting people there, and I've decided I'm not recruiting. I'm not going to do that at all. I'm just going to have the settlements as they are. And then I was like, wait a second, how do I get purveyors then to go back and forth? And then I just happened to cross Ada, and I was like, aha, Ada, hello. You give me a robot workbench. So now I've been creating robots, and robots are walking back and forth between the settlements for me, which then allows me to either hitch a ride with them or send materials, or I can fast travel to a few different places now. So I don't actually need to set up much stuff for the people who live there. Do robots have a happiness factor? Do they count as people in my settlements?
I think it'll stay level 50. I think they're locked at 50. Like Grey Garden, if you only ever have Grey Garden, if you only have robots, will stay at 50 all the time.
Yeah, so I'm that's the way I've sort of gotten my my purveyor line set up without having to do recruitment beacons at all. I'm literally building my purveyors. So
that's perfect.
Yeah, that's great.
That's amazing.
Those pesky people.
You already started a little bit of Automatron then, right? You did the very beginning of Automatron.
Yeah, that's it. I got Ada, but here's the thing, guys. See, I got Ada. I told her go back to the I can't believe I keep forgetting what the fuck that place is called. The good movie.
Sunshine Tidings.
Sunshine Tidings. But I told Cosworth to go there. I haven't seen him around. I told Piper to go there. I haven't seen her around. I told Ada to go there. I haven't seen Ada around. So, I'm wondering what is happening there. If I have some mod that's preventing them from showing up, or what, I just don't understand.
Interesting. So they're disappearing on you.
I don't know if they're disappearing, if they're still on their way there, if they got stuck somewhere, if they returned to point of origin. I still haven't gone back up to Sanctuary to see if Codsworth is floating around still.
Yeah, it may just be slow. Maybe they went back to point of origin, like you said, or maybe they're all in a cave somewhere. Like you'll send all the Sunshine Tidings and they're in the river canyon right below it or something.
I'm going to pop in. They're all going to be playing cards and they're going to look at me and be like, oh, you. Hey, guys, where you been? Come on home. So let's see. What else do I got? That's pretty much it. Oh, the Perception bobblehead. I ran in. Didn't even say hi to Preston or anything. Just grabbed it and went up to the roof. Got the power armor. Got the minigun. Hopped down. And you were talking about that Death Claw. I haven't seen the Death Claw in Concord yet. How do you get that thing to spawn? What do you have to do?
To Preston.
You have to talk to Preston and then it spawns.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's why it never popped up. Speaking of miniguns, we were talking about Ak earlier. I went to there. Is that a satellite array? Olivia Station, whatever it's called.
You do have to say it right, though.
What?
Ak.
So I went down there and I threw a couple of mines down in that room where they'll come out, and I sort of kited them out, and boom! I saw Ak get blown up, and I was like, "Yeah, sweet." Ak's dead because she, killed me a few times with a minigun.
Yeah, she's the worst.
But then I was like, yes, Ak is dead. Now I can take out her minions and be fine. But then I stepped back into the room and still got mowed down by a minigun. One of her fucking followers picked up her minigun after she died.
Every time.
Like, God
every
damn
time.
It. What do you do? Assholes. So I had to reload yet again, set up more mines, do it again, and I finally got it done. But I was just like, you son of a bitch! I just got rid of the minigun person, and then the partner picked it up and mowed me down anyway.
Yeah. You got to be ready to dash in there and pick up the minigun.
You got to get
Just
there
think
before they
about
can.
what they're doing with your weapons when you go down. It's like Rad Rumble all over again. NPCs stealing your weapons.
Yeah. All right, so I think that covers my gameplay. See, Emergentness, Swim Darren's gameplay. Yeah, I think that's everything I ran into.
Yeah,
So that's
the only
perfect.
real epic death that I had was, when you. So I have a normal path that I always take. Headed to Good Neighbor, and so from the library, I head down that road. I pick up Trinity Tower or Trinity Plaza as a marker. I kill the raider that's in the little 2-story building, pick up Huber's comics, go to the back of the trailer and get the explosives. Then I run along and get Boylston Club and Swan's Pond and Boston Common and all that kind of stuff. And Swan is always in the water, in
his pond. Yeah, you can see his back poking out or something.
Yeah. So I came, went in, got my explosives, running along, hit Boylston Club, and all of a sudden, boom!
He just hit you?
He didn't even hit me. He hit the ground with his anchor, and that killed me. And
Wow.
That's a powerful.
I was all the way.
explosion.
I was over at the door by Boylston Club, and he was outside. I don't know why in the world he was out of the
I
pond.
wonder what pulled him out. I wonder if it was one of your companions or what.
I have no companions.
Okay, I wonder. I don't know. Maybe you need a bath and he could smell you. Gosh, I don't know.
I mean,
What
that's
would bring him out?
all I could think. But
Yeah.
that was crazy.
I did have a surprise death similar to that, trying to enter the Olivia station place, where I was just trotting by the fence line, and all of a sudden, boom! Are there landmines set up around there?
No, there's a mole rat with landmines strapped to it.
That must have been
Yes.
him, because I was like, "What the fuck just blew me up?" I was like, I had no
Yeah.
idea what that was.
Yeah,
It's a classic move. Mole miners
Yeah.
weren't the first.
I
to do
guess
that.
so. Yeah.
yeah. He is notorious.
Yeah.
Well,
all right.
I just want to jump from there to segue to the next bit because we got a lot of feedback to get to, some more character intros and such. But you mentioned you started Automatron. So
Yes.
I just wanted to say we did get, because people were asking earlier, we did get the season 14 actual schedule done. So we're only on the 3rd episode. I mean, if you include character draw, really the 2nd episode, we're only in the 2nd episode. So we do have that done. And basically, since people are asking, I will post it up in the Facebook group and on Twitter and in Discord. People in Discord already saw it, at least the first part. So I just need to finish up the Nuka World section. But for those wondering, essentially, we're going to be heading to Far Harbor on June 2nd. That's June 2nd. So that's in about a month. Okay, so we've got this week with our talk about our playthrough. And of course, we'll talk some next week, but maybe a little less. And then we'll have next week will be a feedback week on kind of your path to level 10 to 20 or wherever you get to if you're Andrew, and a few others. And then we'll do, once again, open play feedback from us on the 19th, and then play along feedback on the 26th. And of course, if you got something while we have specifically every other feedback episodes, if you got something cool to say or something you want to send in, you can. We'll try to fit it in. Super loving the enthusiasm this time. But yeah, for those who are kind of marking the calendar, June 2nd, we'll go to Far Harbor. And then we're splitting that across 6 weeks total. 3 episodes from us talking through the quests, 3 episodes feedback. And so we should finish Far Harbor around July 14th. And then we'll be doing Automatron after that. And then Nuka World at the beginning of August. And
there's
we
your
should
whole
finish Nuka
summer,
World
guys.
right around the time a certain game launches.
Ooh, well, we're going all the way to Q1 2024, Jess?
Rude.
Gee whiz.
Yeah. Nuka World's going to be that much fun. But yeah, so that's essentially just so you guys, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. I set you up. I so set you up.
Well, there's we'll spend that time.
It's like the 3rd time this episode.
We'll spend that time just finding all the damn star cores, getting ready for Starfield.
Yeah, it's true. You need all 50 star cores to get Starfield. You guys, it's our job, okay? We have to get all the star cores so Starfield does not get delayed again.
Yeah,
if we fail to
that's
get the
the
star
job.
cores, it might. So I'm gonna blame other people, mostly Andrew, if it gets delayed.
All right, so June we'll go to Far Harbor,
June
And
2nd, yep.
mid-July, we'll start Automatron and get over there to the theme park in August, it sounds like. So
Exactly.
that's
Yeah. So basically, 8 weeks Far Harbor, 4 weeks Automatron, and 6 to 8 weeks for Nuka World. So that may seem like a lot, but when you look at the quest, Far Harbor's a little bit complicated.
Yeah.
So, and it's really only because we do every other with feedback. That's why it'll go that long. And it also gives you time if you need to go back to the Commonwealth. That's going to be a whole ordeal. You know what I mean? If you need to do your other stuff, play your quests. And then, of course, over the next 3 weeks during open play, we'll probably hit a few of those quest mods you mentioned. Like Andrew and I didn't talk about it, but we've seen the locations. Radium Inc. I know some people have been to. The beginning of the Kelly household, a couple of the others. Oh, the Vault 28 beginning is right near Oberlin. So, some of us have started, but I don't have feedback on it yet. Probably will next week.
Cool.
But that's
We can get into
schedule.
those. I was holding off on those mod stuff because I wasn't sure when we were going to chat about them, and I like stuff to be kind of fresh. I'm not good at playing stuff 3 weeks ago and then being like, oh yeah, and then I went here and did that, and my recall is not as good as it used to be. So
Yeah, it's a little different just kind of tossing them in wherever for this one, just because when we were first looking at the season, I was thinking open play would be a full 6 weeks, like we'd have 3 episodes each. But nah, I think 4 weeks is plenty. People are leveling up; they're doing well. We've got to get to Far Harbor before we get too leveled up.
Got to get Captain Longnuts, baby.
Yeah.
All right, we got some feedback with character introductions from a few people here. We'll hear from Jeff, Katherine, and Taz. Let's go ahead and kick off with Jeff.
Hey, Fallout feed. Jeff from Cleveland here again. Good to be back. Sorry I'm a little late on the feedback. I'm a episode or 2 behind on the podcast, so unfortunately I did not get to roll with you guys. I did do a roll of my own. This is what I came up with. My guy's name is Norman. He's got a strength of 2, a perception of 3, an endurance of 5, a charisma of 4,
Nice.
an intelligence of 3, an agility of 9, and a luck of 2. My perks are going to be strength is armorer. My perception perk is awareness. My endurance perk is red resistance, but it's at 5, so I picked up your special book to bump me up to 6 so I can pick up red resistance.
Smart.
My charisma is lone wanderer, which will be nice.
Nice.
Intelligence is medic. My agility
Also
is
useful.
gunslinger, so I'm going to be
Useful.
pistols.
Pistolero.
I'm going to shoot for a stealth pistols guy. And my luck is fortune finder, so hopefully I get a bunch of money. My follower is dog meat, which I'm thinking about getting the cat meat mod as well, so I can have my buddy Oreo running around with me.
Sweet.
And my romance is Piper. I'm allied with the Minutemen, Acadia, and the Disciples. My settlement is Oberlin Station in the mainland and National Parks Visitors Center. I am running a few mods due to time restraints, full-time job, wife that's obsessed with being outside when it's nice out, so only got a few hours per day to play. I am running an autosave mod, so I don't lose time. I'm using the fast travel mod that uses your caravans between settlements, which I believe that's fair enough. I have a mod that lets you claim every settlement before doing the quests. You still can do the quests, but you don't need to do, so you just walk up, hit the workshop, and you're ready to go.
Oh, that's brilliant.
I also am running backpacks of the Commonwealth. Not 100% sure how it works, but I know the backpack I have originally has an extra 10 weight. I did find a magazine that says it bumps it up by 10, and the second bag I found has a weight of 20. So I think the more magazines you find, the higher the bags you find will be, which is kind of cool. Not overpowered, but helpful. I also have the Final Fantasy VII Fanfare level up mod because that's just fun. You level up, just like good old winning a round in Final Fantasy VII. Of course, I have the Fallout feed flag on every settlement I have so far. Sorry, unfortunately, I couldn't play along last year. I had the issue where my computer did not want me to play the game, so couldn't really do anything about that.
Get yourself a console, Jeff.
A little on Norman's backstory now. Originally from Cleveland, after the war, he moved to Boston, and got a job at the local concert club working security, where he met Nora, a cute ticket office girl. They quickly fell in love and got married and moved to the suburbs. He got a job at the local Super Duper Mart in the produce department, where she got a job at the Prost Bar at Boston Commons. A few years after they get married, they found out they're pregnant. This is where we pick up, and we all know where the story ends up right here. He's devastated about what happens, and obviously he is out there just to survive. I had a lot of fun with the New Vegas Roundtable. That was the first one I actually sent in feedback for and was involved with. I had so much fun, so I hope I can keep up this season. This is a hard one this time, so
That it is.
I hope I can keep up. I'm Jeff, and I'll see you in the wasteland.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeff. He mentioned carry weight magazines. Is that a mod with his backpacks things, or are there magazines out there that I need to go pick up to promote
That's a
carry weight?
valuable mod. Backpacks of the Commonwealth. Ray might have used it. I haven't, but a lot of our friends are running it for survival, saying it's a pretty essential mod.
Okay, so there's not like a wasteland survival guide that bumps up your carry weight or anything? Is there a carry weight magazine in the game anywhere? I don't think no.
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. So maybe I need to add a backpack mod.
It's just backpack, but I mean, you've got a bunch of ways to get there. Like I mentioned, Lone Wanderer, how that helps. You have strong back will help. Stuff like that.
Yeah. Right when I was talking about all my endurance clothing, are there any face coverings, glasses, or things that do an endurance boost?
No.
I read that
They're
Gage's
all charisma and perception.
I read that Gage's eye patch will, but you have to have a computer. You have to be playing on PC to open the terminal to steal it from him or something. So I was just thinking, oh wow, I wonder if there's like a little bandana or glasses or something else. But all right, cool. Jeff, thanks so much, sir, for your feedback. Welcome back to the Roundtable. Looking forward to hearing from you all season long, sir. Thank you. All right, up next we've got Katherine. Hello, Katherine.
Hi, Fallout Feed. This is Katherine, or I also go by Penderosa831. I mostly play Fallout 4 and 76, but I'm a longtime listener. I did recently just get involved in the Discord and Facebook, and I couldn't pass up this survival mode on Fallout 4, as I've only really ever attempted it once, but I have a love for Far Harbor and the Nuka World DLCs, so I'm really excited to participate. And I'm playing from Xbox. So here is the backstory. Katniss Everdeen, or Everdeen as she goes by in the Wasteland, has learned to survive in more than one dimension. When Katniss shot her arrow into the arena of the Hunger Games Quarter Quell, she was transported into the void. She awoke inside of the cryo cell in Vault 111 with no memories of her past and no idea how she landed in this dimension. The only thing she remembered was the last part of her name. She watched as the man across the room from her was murdered and what looked like his child was taken, and she knew she had to discover why this had happened and recover the child. But because of this, she's learning to be practical in many ways. It seems while her memories have left her, her personality still shines through in this wasteland. Not only does she know how to do things like hunt and provide for herself, but she is very practical about life and death situations. Everdeen is someone who is pretty guarded, and she isn't going to just automatically trust everyone she meets. She needs people to prove themselves before she feels close to them, but she's very loyal to those that she does care about. She's willing to risk her own life to protect and save those she cares about the most, which includes the Minutemen settlements, who she's going to identify with in the Commonwealth. She can be rather distant and removed, but it's just her way to protect herself. And while she's not too physically strong, her real strength comes from her luckiness. The amount of trauma that she's been through has made her grow weaker in most of her skills, but she never fails to avoid death both in Panem and the Wasteland. Her adventure will continue to build her personality while Everdeen discovers the person's past who she had seemed to swap lives with. So this character was rolled as a male, but I swapped it to female just because I couldn't miss the chance to roleplay one of my favorite childhood characters, even if it is a little bit of a stretch. But I saw that name and I just had to go with Katniss.
Totally.
So her special stats are as follows. She has a strength 4 with steady aim, a perception of 2 with night person, an endurance of 2 with life giver, charisma of 3 with attack dog, intelligence of 4 with scrapper, and an agility of 4 with gunslinger, and then a luck of 9 with 4-leaf clover. So she's going to be a pistol build that leans mostly on the steady aim perk and VATS. Although I'm not very comfortable using VATS critical shots, so we'll see how that goes. So I'm level 12 so far. I'm basically just working on gathering various settlements and progressing the main quest to Diamond City so far. I have all of the assigned perks now except 4-leaf clover and night person.
Wow.
So I think I have 2 more levels I have to put into perception before I can get night person. But I should have all of my assigned perks by level 14. The factions
Excellent.
are going to be the Minutemen, the Children of Adam, and then Nuka World is going to be the Commonwealth. Her follower is going to be Codsworth, and I guess this kind of makes sense because it's the first person she's going to kind of come into contact with outside of the vault. And her romance is Kate, which is cool because I've never actually gotten to the point where I've taken Kate as a follower, or I don't even think I've met Kate in 4 so far.
What?
Oh, that's awesome. Then.
Home
that's
plate
awesome.
is going to be her settlement. I'm not very big on player homes. I think I'd rather just focus on evenly building up the settlements since she's siding with the Minutemen. And then the National Park Visitor Center, which isn't my favorite, but we're going to work with it. I did see that Andrew was looking for the sea captain's hat, and I thought it was really funny.
Yeah.
I just had to say that I guess the suitcases in Sanctuary are random because I found a sea captain's hat in Sanctuary, so I was
jealous.
pretty happy to get that 2 endurance boost with that. That was nice.
Excellent.
And then lastly, some of the mods I'm running, Green in the Commonwealth for some color, Backpacks of the
Nice.
Commonwealth, which has been really cool, Tales of the Commonwealth. I've never done a lot of those different quest lines, but I've heard good things.
Yeah, it's fun.
Survival options for the ability to save and then fast travel with the settlement provisioners. I'm running sim settlements just to make settlement building a little bit easier. And then Jess recommended NAC, which I like so far. And then I also recommended, you recommended Radium Incorporated and then Mad Rock, so I have those installed as well.
Sweet.
So I'm excited so far to get into it, and I'm sorry for the late feedback. I was on vacation last week, so
How dare.
just trying to catch up. But I'm excited, and I'll see you guys in the Wasteland. Thanks.
Awesome.
Bye.
She mentioned this Katniss play style. Is there an archery mod?
So yes, there are mods to use both, but I was going to mention, it was someone asked in chat, Salior, if Codsworth would say Katniss, and he does. He says both Everdeen and Katniss,
Oh,
just
nice.
not both at the same time. So I think if you named yourself Katniss Everdeen, he'd only say the one, but yeah, he will say both.
Hilarious. And there's
Great
a bow
character.
there's a bow and arrow mod she could load and get more into it even.
That is a pretty cool idea. So
awesome.
I now that you mentioned your mods, there's one thing I did want to mention. So I talked about the mods I'm using for survival, that being the canteen, the journey for fast travel, survival options. Survival options is kind of my, in case I got into trouble, you know what I mean? In case like I really needed to change some settings. That's the big comprehensive kind of cheat mod, overall mod. The one for fast travel is actually called Journey dash settlement fast travel. Now, if you're running full dialogue interface, I just wanted to mention too, one that I did mention is there is a mod called Lookup Failed that will stop when you load Creation Club content and full dialogue interface. A lot of things change to Lookup Failed. If you're having that happen, there's a patch. Just add the Lookup Failed patch and it will fix it specifically. Survival options, I mentioned that it was turning everything I slept in into a last week, everything I slept in was a sleeping bag. So I could only get 3 hours sleep. And I was really worried. So people who maybe aren't in Discord and, have been worried about me, thank you. But we did get it figured out. So Ray's idea to make every sleeping bag equal to a mattress or a bed, it didn't work, but those settings were in there. He was right about that. But the reason is Survival Options seems to have a bug with a number of other mods that will keep it from working. It is not the most stable cheat mod out there. So just a quick warning to people. And if you put it near the bottom of your load order, it does fix it. So what I was able to do was putting it It was about 5 from the bottom, and now it's working right. And now beds are beds, mattresses are mattresses, and sleeping bags are also mattresses because I never want to go through that again. But yeah, so anyway, anyone else running it, if you do run into trouble and you can't sleep, that is why. It is a survival options mod. It has some really cool options in it you can use. You can tweak your survival, but it's also not perfect.
Katherine expressed a little concern maybe with using 4-leaf clover and or crypt banker. I was just do not feel intimidated by those. Hop right into using your VATS with crypt banker and 4-leaf clover because you can get really overpowered there pretty easily with a good VATS build with the 4-leaf clover and crypt banker and such. She also mentioned Night Person. I think Night Person in Fallout 4 is much more effective than it is in Fallout 76 just because you can control the clock in Fallout 4 where you cannot in Fallout 76. If you sleep during the day and then pretty much only do all your adventuring at nighttime, like you can just be like, I'm going to sleep until 8 p.m. And you wake up at 8 p.m. and go do your adventuring, and Night Person is almost always on. You almost always get that extra intelligence boost and your extra XP for that. So you can manipulate the clock much easier in 4 than you can in 76. So Night Person is actually pretty useful, I think. And then I was thinking, Ray, I was about to head to the library to get the bobblehead, and that's the intelligence bobblehead, right? But then I was thinking better, I probably shouldn't if I have Idiot Savant, right? I don't want to get that bobblehead, right?
Because you'll have to save scum more.
Save scum more, right? It'll lower
You're
my
not gonna
probability.
Keep doing that, though.
Why not?
You had to save your fat. It was just kind of a nice boost.
I'm gonna do it the whole damn time. I'm gonna be level 100. I've never gotten a character in Fallout 4 to level 100. Pat's had characters in the 140s. I've never gotten past like 60 something.
Yeah, just start dumping all your points into intelligence.
Yeah, it will make a big difference. I mean, I have Idiot Savant as an assigned perk, and my intelligence is 9. Well, actually, technically 10, because I put a point in there, because Nerd Rage was assigned, I had to get it.
If you save scum that, you'll just go up 10 levels every time you turn into a quest.
That's the thing. It's worth a lot more. It doesn't happen often, but it is worth so much more.
Yeah. Wow. Great. All right, Katherine, thanks so much for the feedback. Welcome to the Roundtable. Looking forward to hearing from you all season long. Hopefully like playing along with us.
Love the character, yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. And Taz sent in an email, which I took the liberty of reading. Greetings to all my fellow Wastelanders and friends. Decided to resurrect the previous Roundtable character with a few more interesting augmentations. This Roundtable character submission will be a bit more interesting one than what she was before. Her name is Leah, and her special is as rolled a strength of 10, perception of 2, endurance of 2, charisma of 1, intelligence of 5, agility 4, and luck 4. The follower is Curie. Romance is also Curie. Commonwealth faction, the Minutemen. Commonwealth settlement, Sanctuary. Far Harbor faction, Harborman. Far Harbor settlement, Longfellow's Cabin. Nuka World faction, the Commonwealth. Perks include armor, pickpocket, rad resistant, sneak, science, Mr. Sandman, and idiot savant. Leia's background comes from an interesting and colorful groups. Her father's side of the family hails from what we know as Ireland, with deep family ties to the IRA. And on her mother's side of the family comes from Israel, and her family had deep ties with the modern-day Mossad. This diverse family mashup gives her unique skills that were taught by her family. She in some ways is a survivor, and another way beyond being known as the sole survivor. Her family with her mother, father's mother's parents, and a few uncles just leaving the area near the airport in Tel Aviv when the nuclear bomb went off destroying Tel Aviv. They were heading to Ireland on a family trip to visit her father's side of the family when they later learned that they were on the last plane out of Tel Aviv. After spending time in Ireland, the family eventually emigrates to the United States and starts a new life while she grows up in her family. Both sides train her in all aspects of both IRA and Mossad. Never letting on to anyone outside the family she has those skills, she eventually joins the Navy as a machinist mate who helps maintain many various mechanical systems aboard a ship, though she never forgot other skills taught to her by her family. After conquering that trade, she eventually tried and excelled in a new career in the group we now call the Navy SEALs, where she excelled easily with what her family taught her as well as the military training she gained along the way. She eventually meets Nate, her spouse, to be at an armed forces social function, and both hit it off, eventually to marry and settle down in the community where they are beginning in Fallout 4 after they both leave the military. When Nate and Sean and she were lowered into the vault, she can be seen weeping for a brief time and being heard saying, "Oh God, not again," as she says the bomb blasts on the ground. I will be using a number of mods in this playthrough, but a few notable ones are APC Home on the Move, basically a mobile base, Highwayman, personal fast travel vehicle, which is lore friendly using the Highwayman car from Fallout 2, and Modern Firearms, which is most of the known modern firearms today. Any other mods of note will be mentioned as the story unfolds. So this is the background for Leia, my first Roundtable character. Have fun, and we'll see you all in the Wasteland. I like the Highwayman thing. I want to check that out at some point. The car fast travel system. I always saw like the broken down motorcycles and bicycles and stuff around the Wasteland, and I always wondered why we couldn't ever, fix up a motorcycle or, it's just something, while we're always walking. In Skyrim, you get a goddamn horse. Like, why have they never added anything like that to Fallout?
I mean, there is a motorcycle mod that's a ton of fun.
But I'm saying, like, why isn't that in the game? Like, why have they actively avoided having some sort of transport? Because they want you to explore more on foot, or what? I
think it's a combination of things. I mean, you look at the roads and condition. I mean, obviously in Fallout lore, there are vehicles that are still running, even though a lot of them aren't, due to tire degradation, engine maintenance, blah, blah, blah. There are things that can. Obviously, we got vertebrates. But I think really just with the landscape, it probably was a mess. And motorcycles and cars are a lot faster than horses, and the engine can't load that fast. So it probably just didn't make sense.
What sort of nuclear power vehicles do we have in our world? It's just mainly submarines and battleships, right?
Yeah, at this point, I would think so. I don't think any space vehicles are nuclear powered yet. Probably just submarines.
If you set those down for 50 years, could you get it to start immediately again and have it be running just fine? Like, what's the half-life? Yeah, what's that?
They are fusion vehicles. I mean, that's part of the whole lore is that, they discovered how to really harness and use fusion power in that way, a good 10 to 12 years before the Great War.
That's
like
opposite.
The resource wars were because of scarcity. And then that was actually getting better, at least for the US, since they discovered fusion power. So that's different. But I don't know. Ray, do you know anything about nuclear power? Because I really don't.
Yeah, I think the reason why you see it on ships and nothing else is because they have ready access to cooling fluid.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the thing in Fallout. Most of the filling stations were coolant stations.
Right. Yeah.
So you kept your car filled with cooling fluid to keep the reactor in check.
Interesting.
So that makes sense. So it could be more dangerous. But we run fusion batteries for power armor and vertebrates can fly. So logically you'd think they could come up with something. And even if there is gas, because we do find a heck of a lot of gas canisters for gas not really being in vogue anymore. Being scarce.
And couldn't we drive Securitrons around?
There you go. Giddy up Securitron.
Hop on
Absolutely.
Get a whip.
God, someone needs to draw. I would love to see a picture of Victor giving somebody a courier a piggyback. That would be amazing.
Yeehaw.
Well, get on up, partner.
Hop on, partner. Let's go for a ride. That'd be great.
But yeah, so Taz is back with Leia. Awesome to hear. But Leia coming back in a different, kind of slightly different version, a little bit different lore. I'm liking it.
Sounds good. Hey, Jeff, Katherine, and Taz, good to hear about your characters, and hopefully we keep hearing from you. We do have a couple more feedback, but we'll probably push those to, or what? Did you want to get into them?
I think we got time. We're actually doing pretty darn good on time. It's not even 2 hours yet. But before we do, we have one more character introduction. We've got Sophie. So our friend Soph, after listening to last week's episode, we talked about how she started her first Fallout 4 playthrough. And, don't do survival for your first playthrough. Take your time. Well, after listening, she said, no, I have to. So here's what she posted in our Facebook group. Well, after listening to this week's episode, there's no way I couldn't join in with survival. I've spent my Sunday creating Sally and learning a ton about this game that I'll use on my main playthrough. I won't progress the survival character past my main one, parentheses, bad chance of that. But after a big adventure today, I'm proud to say that Sally killed a freaking Deathclaw. Thanks, Cars. And settled some folks into Sanctuary. I've had a blast, thanks. And we'll send over feedback for that episode from this trip.
Oh,
so
strategic car usage. Very nice.
It really helps save my buns. So Sally is her character. Her follower will be Preston, Romance McCready. Her faction is going to be the Minutemen, and her settlement is Sunshine Tidings. Andrew, that's the settlement that's kind of near the lake.
What's the one with Professor Goodfields with the fucking...
So yeah, her main strength is perception. And as an aside too, so she's still playing her, as a first time player, her main playthrough. And her character in her first playthrough, just finished at the Institute and just got out of the Institute. So she's doing pretty well. She's trekking along there. But she's sharing a little bit of it on Twitch. So I was watching her some today and talking to her about settlements. She's going to focus on settlements for a bit. But yeah, it'll be a while before her survival character catches up for sure.
Very cool. All right. So, welcome. Good deal. All right. So we got checking in with adventures after the introduction. We've got Blaze, Pip-Boy Steve and Kosmo. So let's go ahead and roll into Blaze.
Yeah,
hello,
let's go. I figured
back
early
to the Adventures of Frank Slaughter. A little bit of a preamble here. I had to give up the whole idea of doing this in VR. Just the in general problems with playing Fallout 4 with mods and all that instability, with on top of that trying to play it in VR, which is the game's not really optimized for, and then topping all the survival aspect on top of that was just a little bit too much for me. I was dying too much and crashing too much, and ended up coming out of the vault about 10 times in an hour, maybe 2 hours, so unfortunately I had to give up that aspect. But I restarted the character on regular PC, and everything's going much better now, so that's probably how I will continue on with the rest of this playthrough. Now on to the regular, or what happened this week.
May 3rd, 2327. My name is Dr. Victor Blaze, and this is the continuation of the life of Frank Slaughter. After waking up from his cryogenic sleep and finding the death surrounding him, Mr. Slaughter quickly fled from the vault, getting his first taste of the post-war world in the form of the common radroach, which he promptly smashed to mash with his bare fists. Upon leaving the vault, he spent some time wandering the ruins of his home from before the bombs, meeting his old Mr. Handy, who was in rather good condition, considering the time that had passed. After smashing a few bloatflies that were infesting the ruins of some of the homes, Mr. Slaughter left Sanctuary Hills behind and took his first steps into a world quite unknown to him. It wasn't long before he had found his first companion in his legacy, a German shepherd that went by the name of Dogmeat at the local Red Rocket. Punching a few mole rats to death, he then headed to the tallest building he could see nearby. This turned out to be the Abernathy farmstead, where he met the first humans since leaving the vault, and learning much about the current era from the family there. Mr. Slaughter admitted he had trouble believing what he was being told, but his eyes couldn't have been lying to him for this long. At this point, his mind was slowly piecing itself back together, so Mr. Slaughter began to head for the place he knew almost as well as home, the General Atomics Galleria, and more in particular, the boxing ring. By this time, it was starting to get dark, however, so he made a small bolt hole at the Red Rocket station. It just didn't feel right to try and return to his former home. He had planned on stopping into Concord on Codsworth's suggestion, but as soon as he entered the town, he was greeted by the sound of gunfire, which quickly changed his plans. On his way to his old gym, Mr. Slaughter met up with a trader of sorts by the name of Lucas, who he traded some caps for some much-needed leather pads. Some protection was sorely needed from what he had already encountered.
All right, Blaze. Thank you. Checking in with Slaughter. Sounds good.
Yeah, unarmed will be interesting in survival. I'm doing melee, and it's not easy.
I'm telling you, need to
yourself in the line of fire.
Get the Swan's Power Fist or the Deathclaw Gauntlet, and so that legendary versions of the Deathclaw Gauntlet will start dropping after you do that quest. I found a lucky Deathclaw Gauntlet that was really nice when I was doing my survival playthrough a couple months ago. I liked it a lot. But unarmed. Is there a boxing glove legendary one anywhere? I imagine you can get a random drop of one at some point if you try to farm some legendaries or something like that. I don't know. That'll be great.
Yeah, is there a legendary boxing glove? Like an actual named one? No, I guess not. I guess not. But yeah, you can definitely get legendary effects on them.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Blaze. We'll keep checking in with you as we go along. We also got a message here from Pip-Boy Steve.
Kia ora, everybody. Steve here.
Kia ora,
with
Steve.
My feedback for Zenith. I wanted to talk about my inspiration for the character because I realized last time I did not talk about that. And so what happened was I went online and I looked up to try and see if I could find any famous people named Zenith. But it's not that. There's no real famous people, but it's not unknown as a name. I did look in the disambiguation page on Wikipedia, and I did find a piece of art titled Zenith that was created in a collaboration between Andy Warhol and Jean-Michel Basquiat. I thought it was pretty cool. It has like an old car and some big skulls and the Zenith logo. So I decided to use that piece of art just for general inspiration. I'm using the Gunner skins from Creation Club because they have a skull that looks like the one from the painting. And I made Nate kind of look like Basquiat and Zenith to kind of look loosely like a female Warhol. I just made really fast passes in the character page, though. I didn't spend a lot of time. Zenith was at 10 Pines and I wanted to go do the Slocum's Joe quest and get the building materials and things so I can make donuts and coffee. And it was nighttime, and I had to go into an area where I hadn't been before. I stopped on the way at this bridge outlook thing. It had planks and a lantern. It was nighttime, so the lantern was lit. And I looked down, there's a fishing spot, and there's a couple raiders there. And so I engaged them, and I could tell that the level had gone up on the bad guys that I was fighting. So from here out, the enemies that I'm meeting are going to be tougher than I have been. So I was using sneak mode. I did engage those raiders and I killed them. And then I kept sneaking and I came across some sleeping radstags. I've never seen sleeping radstags before. There are 3 of them just in like a little circle on a rock outlook. I let them sleep. If I had taken Mr. Sandman at the time, which I have now. If I ever see this again, I'll try it. But I didn't know if Mr. Sandman would work on sleeping animals. Because, I mean, how often is that you run across a sleeping animal?
Radstags is it, right. Yeah.
I made it to the headquarters, and I'm looking around for a bed in, like, nearby buildings, but, like, trying to not go too far because I didn't really want to catch anybody's notice, any bad guys. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, a legendary Deathclaw comes up. Big old skull on the name. I freak out and I'm like running circles around the Slocum's Joe headquarters, trying to go through doorways and see if that would stop the Deathclaw from following me. But the doorways are big enough so that he was following me around. Finally, he got me and picked me up and did the whole slammed me in the ground thing, killed me, sending me all the way back to 10 Pines.
Oh, God.
But that was fun.
No, it's not.
And so it took a few times, and I knew there were going to be and I finally got back, and I'm like, I still couldn't find a bed, but I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go in. And I knew there were going to be some raiders in that room where you get the plans for Slocum's Joe, and I chucked a grenade as soon as I went in there. I took them out, so that was great.
Nice.
I never did find a bed. And then I made it back to
Oh,
10
no.
Pines. And I'm thinking, oh, what am I going to do now? So I'm like, oh, I can go do that airplane that's not too far. So I go down there. Sure enough, there's some raiders, and they kill me. I'm like, all right, let me try this again slower. So I go back again, starting from 10 Pines again. So I go back again to the airplane. And this time it's super mutants, because I guess it's changing up on me. And sure enough, super mutants kill me. After this happens like 3 or 4 times, I'm like, all right, look, what can I do differently? So I used the flare gun and summoned some Minutemen to help me out.
Oh,
With their
nice.
help, I was able to do it, and that was a lot of fun. A little similar story is when I received a settlement attack at Hangman's Alley, and first thing I did was I went and I made a save at Oberlin Station to get a save point. Now, I didn't have any settlers at Hangman's Alley at the time, so I was like, well, what are they attacking? So I ran over. So if you run from Oberlin Station towards Hangman's Alley, you got to go through that like little wooded area, which is just north of Diamond City.
Yeah.
And the other vault that's over there.
81.
And so I avoided stuff. I did see like a rad scorpion over there. And one of my times, the rad scorpion did catch me and attack me. So, but I was trying to avoid that. So I'm going over there. I get over to Hangman's Alley. Sure enough, there's a guy in there. And even with my trick of opening up while I throw in a grenade at them, there's a guy in there with a rocket launcher, and he just keeps taking me out. And so I did this like 5 or 6 times. I'm like, oh. So I used the flare gun again, and I summoned some Minutemen to come and help me out.
Are they his faction?
Either 3 or 4 Minutemen, or 3 Minutemen and a dog sometimes. And so that was good. They all happened to die in the process, which is sad. That just means I got their loot. So when I'm playing normal mode, I never, non-survival, I never needed those guys. But in survival, I'm finding I'm using that option and every other trick in the book that I can to get an edge. I used the cages, and I have a guard dog at Sanctuary now.
Nice.
So between the guard dog, the Creation Club Golden Lab, and dog meat, I have a small kennel going.
Woohoo.
I had another settlement attack at Sanctuary from some super mutants, and it was great to see all 3 dogs jumping their ass. At one time, there was a super mutant that had, I think it was like 1 on each leg, and then 1 on one of his arms.
Nice.
And that was really fun, watching the 3 dogs attacking the super mutant and taking them down. I should build them a better kennel area. Right now, it's just one of the building foundations with 3 dog houses on it. So all 3 dogs hang out there, though. And like I was talking about, things I'm utilizing that I don't normally is this time I'm using the Vault Tech population management system to assign settlers jobs in my areas and finding my follower. I lost Preston one time, and I used it to it gives you like a quest that then puts a quest marker above your follower, and so you can go find your follower. And you find this quest Vault Tech population management system in your power miscellaneous in the build menu. I'm pretty sure it's in there right near the where you get make the thing to summon settlers. So anyways, that is what I've been up to. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the wasteland.
Awesome. Pip-Boy Steve, I'm going to fucking load up that Vault Tech population management system, see if I can track down Codsworth and Piper and see where they are. Do you think
He'll track your companions is useful.
Do you think they have to be your active locked-on companion for that to work, or you can track anyone? Because they're not my logged-in companion right now. But I was just going to see if maybe I could use that to see where they are.
I've had companion tracking mods that let you track your active. I am not sure if this one does all of them or not. That would be excellent if it put a little tracking device on all of them, though.
Yeah, cool. All right, I'll look into that. Steve. Good to hear from you, sir. As always, Steve's a longtime participant. Love hearing your adventures, sir.
Yeah, he was excited. It's funny. We were talking ahead of time about sending him feedback early. He's like, I was just excited. I wanted to send him some feedback already.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love hearing about the flare gun. That's a very creative solution. And it's kind of like the artillery or summon things, like summoning a vertibird, like things you don't do very often, even when you have the ability to. But the idea that it actually helps, I mean, that's awesome. Very creative thinking. I do feel bad about them dying, but I guess they're a renewable resource.
He can get himself a laser musket. All right.
Also, before we go on to the next feedback, I was going to mention in chat earlier when we were listening to the feedback from Blaze and Steve, they mentioned that with nuclear reactors, talking about that with vehicles, already happening. So Sullivan linked an article on CNBC that Westinghouse announces a small nuclear reactor, notable step in industry efforts to be able to use nuclear power for a number of home devices. So, wow.
We are stepping into the future, you guys.
And then also, Taz linked the Ford Nucleon, which I'm sure some people have heard of, but if you haven't, it was a concept car developed by Ford in the 50s. So very, very Fallout related as a nuclear power car of the future. And yeah, it looks very Fallout. It's a neat idea. It was never actually made, but it was one of the inspirations for the nuclear cars in Fallout.
Awesome. Are like Codsworth and all the robots nuclear powered?
No, they're fueled.
They're fueled?
Yeah, because
you can see him burning.
Yeah, he has the robot fuel, right? And you get Mr. Handy fuel as a junk item. You know what I mean?
Mr.
Kind of
Handy
like
fuel.
propane.
Okay, right. I totally forgot about that.
So we don't know what the mixture is, but they can probably hook up and just kind of refuel their reserves.
Okay, neat.
Yes, fission, not fusion. There we go. Yeah, that's the difference. So fusion is the future. Fission is more current. But we're working towards it.
Working towards it. All right, we have one last piece of feedback here from Kosmo.
Hi, this is Kosmo with an installment of The Adventures of Zed. Spent a little time in Sanctuary. We managed to craft the scope. Turns out it's really useful to be able to see things. I think I was feeling a little sentimental with how empty the place feels compared to the one other game I've played, at least now that it's full of people. Really enjoyed meeting Dogmeat again for the first time. Of course, his name's not Dogmeat yet. Sneaking slowly on our way down to Concord. Even the bugs give us a little trouble, at least at first. Starting to get the hang of water and food management. As we get into Concord and hear some noise in the distance, we start sneaking around to the right side. We ran into a robot that looked like Codsworth from one of the mods. It's like he gave us a quest for fetching a voice module in the Freedom. We've managed to sneak our way all the way to the front of the Museum of Freedom and pick off the raiders there, little at a time. Inside the museum, after dying at least once, we managed to sneak our way up and around. After getting Dogmeat's name, we told Dogmeat to stay put and headed up to the roof. After Ray's comment about not picking up the power armor, we kind of delayed that for a bit and then ended up picking off the raiders from the roof. And then finally, picking off that death claw slowly, just to see if we could. Although at one point, Gristle, I think his name is, surprised us. And after a reload, we managed to pick him off by hiding behind some stuff that he couldn't shoot through. We spotted a scene with somebody holding their hands up in the air and discovered it was Jules, the self-admitted synth. Since we had a high charisma, we were able to rescue Jules without bloodshed. And then we just decided to follow him to see where he went. He said something about Bunker Hill. At this point, we still hadn't gone back to talk to Preston Garvey or pick up the power armor, so that's all still sitting there, and Dogmeat's still with Mama Murphy, actually. At this point, we run into somebody standing by the side of the road named Heather, who's part of a mod, it turns out. Heather Caston. Wasn't really looking to divert too much, but she seems kind of interesting, and actually seems to have a sneaking mode that kind of keeps her out of the way, so she's following along. I lost Jules at some point. Couldn't remember where. Came across the Tucker Memorial Bridge, clearing the mines, on a second at least. Well, we fell through a hole, actually. Yeah, that was it. At about this time, a rad storm, and I don't know, so it's nighttime, and I can just barely make out some lights in the distance, so we head towards them and find another bridge by the Poseidon Energy. We also then see Protectron, I think it was, walking back and forth by a crashed ship, and a power armor sitting there. So I hate using up the fusion cores, so I had Heather get into the power armor. And then we spot West Everett's estates just over the hill. We start blinking at super mutants, and then eventually the Protectron goes down and clears out most of the place,
Nice.
except for this one guy named Hammer. And this is where I need to leave it off for the week because something's come up. But I think in closing, survival is much more fun with saves. And the toggle clip collision command is helpful for getting unstuck from the geometry. Cosmo out.
Thank you, Cosmo. Very fun. Yeah. Saving does make survival much more bearable. You are correct about that. I'd forgotten when Dogmeat gets a name. So that Preston tells you, or Mama Murphy tells you.
Mama Murphy.
Mama Murphy tells you it's Dogmeat. And if you leave them there, will Nick eventually tell you his name is Dogmeat too? If I remember that right? Or I could be.
Yeah, at the
Kellogg's when you're sending him on a search. Yep.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, and be careful of Heather. She is a good follower in that she stays out of the way. She's somewhat helpful in a fight, but never, ever, 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 ever
What?
shuts up.
She talks a lot.
People love
Not
her.
only does she talk a lot, she sings.
Can you reduce her dialogue? Plus, I hear she's a good singer. But can you reduce how often she talks or no?
I don't know. I didn't keep her long enough to figure it out.
Yeah, Ray and Companions. It's funny because I've heard so much good stuff about Heather Kasdan and never ran with her. If I had the memory, I was thinking about it this time. But I mean, it's, we've got that maxed out.
And as far as followers go, she was tolerable otherwise.
Okay. Well, what's exciting is, I mean, like her recent update, she got like another 1,000 lines of dialogue or something, Ray. So, I mean,
And 1,000 more songs.
Yeah.
Specifically for Far Harbor, even. So.
Yeah. When she started singing, it was like, what?
I'm trying to set up a sniper shot here. Quit singing. Shut up. He also mentioned Ray's comment about not picking up the power armor. Remind me of what he was talking about there. What did you say about not picking up that power armor?
Probably just that you could.
Okay. I didn't know if there was some
I don't remember
advantage to
anything
leaving it up there or something.
No, there's nothing like that.
Okay.
It just, it's just another option. You're much more nimble if you know how to stay away from the Deathclaw.
And I have 3 power armor frames now, and my power armor is fully upgraded to 45B.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I like the tip of making your companion get into the power armor to save on fusion cores, too. I'd forgotten about that aspect. Smart.
I had too.
Yeah.
Quick note from chat, live update. The singing is awesome. I repeat, the singing is awesome.
Burn you, Ray.
Clearly, yes.
Clearly, yes. Very cool. All right, that was our round of feedback. Thanks, guys.
As we dance in the air, we make feedback.
And we've got some iguana bits, but first, real quick, I'd like to run a game by you. In celebration of Otter returning for this week on Game Time.
What time is it? Game time! Woo!
We are going to play a Scream at Your Phone list, which we haven't done in a little while, I feel. But this week on Scream at Your Phone, Jess actually mentioned one of these names earlier in the show. In honor of Otter returning home, we are going to name all of the Fallout 4 named house cats.
Oh, good one. Good one.
All right, Jess, since you already had one on the tip of your tongue, I don't know if you want to save it for later or if Ray wants to steal it, but I'll let you go first with the first named house cat in Fallout 4.
I mean, since we already said Ashes, I have to say Ashes.
Ashes, first
Ashes.
one on my list from Vault 81. If you guys don't know names, I can give you the locations and see if that'll jog your memory. Ray, do you have a house cat name?
Ashes.
Ashes. Oh, wait, she already said that one.
Isn't that the only named cat in the game? Come on, seriously.
There are a couple.
There are 10. 10 named house cats in the game, including Far Harbor and Nuka World. Do you have a guess of any of them, any others, Ray? Can you come up with one besides Ashes?
No.
All right. Jess, you already won, but for the double win, do you have another house cat?
Well, the cat on the porch at Abernathy Farms, obviously.
Yes. Do you know the kitty's name?
Is adorable, and I was actually just petting them the other day.
Yeah.
And I keep stalling.
You can stall as long as you want.
If I stall long enough, may I remember the cat's name? I think it starts with a C. And I don't know, Century or Cuddlebug or...
Yes, Cuddlebug. That's right, Cuddlebug.
No, I honestly don't know.
That one is named Maisie. Maisie.
Oh, I don't know if she was named Maisie in mine.
Oh, I didn't know it could change. Here's a hint. This cat doesn't actually appear in the game, but is all over posters and advertising, all over in a little cute little space helmet.
I'll let Ray get that one.
I don't know the name of that one.
Mr. Pebbles.
Mr. Pebbles. You
That's
can get a Mr. Pebbles plushie in Fallout 76. Okay, I'll just run down the list here real quick. Over in Covenant, you've got Dora. On the Pridwin, there's a kitty. His name is Emmett. At the Diamond City Schoolhouse, there is Toro. Abernathy Farm is Maisie, like we mentioned. We got Mr. Pebbles on advertising posters all over the place. And Vault 118 over in Far Harbor, we've got Scruffy. Also in Far Harbor, at the Last Plank, we've got Tink. And Nuka World, by the Red Rocket, you've got a pair of cats who run around together, Katana and Luna. So those are your named Fallout 4 house cats. Thanks for playing.
That is an awesome bit of trivia. I feel like that's a great scream at your phone for the end of the playthrough, not the first time we've played it in a little while.
Well, I mean, like you mentioned, even if you sit and pet the cats, I don't know, does your cursor actually bring up the name, or do you have to have fucking Blake Abernathy say, "Hey, Maisie, what are you doing?"
I think if you look at them, you'll see the name, kind of like with Murgle in Fallout 76,
Mm-hmm. I didn't know if it would bring up the name or not. Cool.
But it is odd. I'm even forgetting the name of all the cats in 76. Is it Cheston the Third? Is Cheston the Third the one in the window there?
I have no idea. Murgle's the only one I would...
Cheswick. I had to get one just to make myself feel better.
Cool. All right, guys, that was our game for this week. Let's roll into some iguana bits. What do we got, Jess?
Well, pretty spare. That's why I'm like, let's get all the feedback in this week, just to leave room for everything coming next week. So, in Iguana Bits news, well, there was stuff in the Atom Shop. That's exciting.
Nice.
There's
what do we got?
Really cool gutted car gate. If you're a Fallout First member, you have a free gate for your camp that is essentially, it's a car on its side that can slide back and forth.
No
Looks
way.
really cool. They've been outdoing themselves with all the Atom Shop items lately.
Trying to keep people to log in after they get scorecation.
Yeah, one of the things with the companies they brought on is that they have a lot of people who are able to do, cool art assets and such. So that's why we're getting things that are not just kind of pulled through and reworked from Fallout 4 more lately, but we're getting a whole lot of new original stuff, not just for the scoreboards, but also for the Atom Shop, of course. Like you said, it keeps people logging in.
Well, I'll have to log in and check it out.
There are a number of limited time Mothman ones too, because we're currently in the middle of Mothman Equinox, 1 week down, 1 week to go. I did a few of them. Mothman Equinox is happening, so that's fun. Also, this weekend is Double XP weekend. So if you do want to get in there and level, if you want to be able to work through the scoreboard a little bit quicker, get that XP rollover, Double XP weekend is a good time to do that. And like I said, Atom Shop stuff, there's a bit. Now, I don't really have much else. There's no official news from Bethesda on much of anything new coming as far as 76 goes, so it's kind of a dry week there. There were some new leaks for pictures from the upcoming Fallout TV show this week. I figured we should mention that.
Ooh.
So if you haven't seen them yet, they are set pictures again. So Most of the leaked pictures, there were a few, as you know, at the beginning from the Red Rocket and Super Duper Mart area. And but then the rest have pretty much all been inside the vault sets. And these are no exceptions. So we get another look at the interior of the vault sets with the construction there. These stairs and stuff, very traditional. You get some pictures with cool control panels and some graffiti on it. But the neatest thing that happened here was a picture of not just one of the main characters in a vault suit. We've seen this character before in a couple of other previous leaked pictures. Dapper-looking guy with a beard. But he is talking to a ghoul. And so we're seeing ghoul makeup for the first time. And it is very authentic. Now, I've heard a couple of different takes on this. Some people are like, oh my God, it looks so plastic. And others like, oh my God, he looks great. The truth is, he really does look a lot like the ghouls in Fallout 4. That kind of Hancock style with the, the beef jerky face, but not like rotting flesh coming off like some of the earlier games, So it's very Fallout 4 style and plasticky. Now, I don't know if this is an actual person in a costume or a dummy because it is a still. But I feel like the look would be really cool once you get effects. And this ghoul is in a vault suit for Vault 33. So, yeah, I just wanted to mention there were pictures. But there's no other real updates on the TV show. Checking by the IMDb, we still only even have the main characters themselves listed in 4 or 5 episodes. There's someone listed as zombie in all 10 episodes. But considering we don't have zombies in the game, and it's probably a ghoul, I feel like somebody is messing with us and just kind of playing. And then we have a character named Norm, played by Moises Arias, who's listed as being in 8 episodes. Now, maybe that one's correct. Someone just updated that, but yeah. But then the rest, we've only got info for 4 episodes. So
awesome.
Yeah, no real update on the TV show. People still wondering when it's going to come out. And if the writer strike that just happened, the WGA, you guys know writer strike will affect it.
The show's already written, right?
Exactly. They've already wrapped. So yeah, it won't affect season 1 at all. Could it affect season 2?
Absolutely.
Maybe,
yeah.
But it'll be a while before we get there anyway. So yeah, still don't know the timing on the TV show at all. Nothing revealed there. I do feel like, with Fallout 4 Next Gen, we've got the same thing there, no info on that. Hopefully when it comes to the big Bethesda Direct or the Xbox showcase and then the Bethesda Direct after for Starfield, we get some information on Next Gen Fallout 4.
Yeah.
And I'm still guessing Great Wartime. You know what I mean? Next October.
Well, they love to put out a little thing to build up hype before something else comes out. So I'm hoping that either Starfield gets some sort of like a little mobile game similar to Shelter before Fallout 4, or that they use this Fallout 4 beefed up mode as sort of like a prep for Starfield. But we would have heard about it already, right?
Yeah, for a little while we were thinking that, but if it was going to happen before Starfield, it would happen several months, you would think. Yeah, so unless it's a, stealth drop surprise at the June conference and we get it for 2 months, I bet it'll be after. Now, someone's saying, well, won't people be playing Starfield when that comes out? Sure, but if it comes out 2 or 3 months after Starfield releases, they don't necessarily expect people to jump on it right away. I really think a lot of the goal is making the Fallout fan base happy and having a solid best version of Fallout 4 available for people watching the TV show in case, like Ray was talking about a couple episodes back, if they do get that cyberpunk bump,
Yeah.
That bump from the TV show. If they do get that Witcher bump, a Witcher, a lot more pickup after the TV show came out. Cyberpunk, a lot more pickup. So could it happen with Fallout? Yeah, and they probably want to have the best version available for that.
Is Prime producing this TV show? Is this an Amazon Prime thing? Are they quick on the trigger to sign season 2 to stuff?
More than not, they have been. Okay. Yeah, you usually find out within the first 3-4 episodes if they're a success, and they're re-signing. Some of them have even been announced before release, but not before they announced when it was actually airing. So we won't know about that for a while. But yeah, they're usually pretty quick. One that was slow was the Neil Gaiman one. I feel like Good Omens. I think Good Omens was Prime, and was Sandman Prime or Netflix?
That was Netflix, I think.
Yeah, Sandman was Netflix. Good Omens was Prime, and Good Omens, I feel like they were a little bit slow on that one. Like, it's not always immediate, but...
Cool. All right. Got some other iguana bits there?
Not a whole lot more.
Okay.
I've had listed Redfall, but we talked about that already. Redfall is out. It's controversial. And one of the big questions a lot of pundits and YouTubers are asking, as YouTubers want to do, what does this mean for Starfield? Will it affect Starfield? Do we have to worry about Starfield? Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, question mark. Yeah, I mean, Arcane is under Bethesda parent company, but two different studios. And honestly, I don't think it means anything for Starfield. At worst, if there is an issue with, quality control as far as deciding something is ready enough to come out or not, now that the studios are owned by Microsoft, I would just say, even if the bar is lower than it should be, which I don't think it is, I think this was kind of just an issue with internal testing. Even if the bar is lower, it doesn't mean that you can't exceed the bar by a good margin. You know what I mean? And they have been putting a lot into Starfield. In fact, there was an interview with Phil Spencer, head of Xbox and Microsoft Game Studios, on XCast on Wednesday. And I won't go into everything he said there, but just briefly as far as how it affects our games that we love, like Starfield. He was on there kind of talk about the general plan, where they're at, how it affects Redfall. But people asking about, what does that mean for Starfield? And he talked about how Redfall was a little bit further along when they acquired Bethesda. Starfield was earlier. And in many ways, they've already, stepped in and worked with Bethesda Game Studios on Starfield as far as being able to be there and any resources they need, etc. And left Redfall maybe a little more independent. So, you can tell that they're very aware and that they've been there with them, letting Bethesda do their own things. Microsoft has always been very hands-off. In the last 5 years, Microsoft has been very hands-off after notoriously not being in the 2000s with studios. And so, for better or worse, they kind of let them do their own thing. So, Bethesda Game Studios hopefully doing what they do.
Well, that's good. Because I was just about to ask, there has to be a give and take when you're purchased by an umbrella company, where you get more assets and more hands to help with your project. But I was going to ask what the negative side of that is. But if they're hands off, then that's promising.
Yeah, the negative side can be too much interference, can be chasing trends. Yeah. I mean, previously, one of the things with the Fable studio, Lionhead, that kind of led them the wrong way was they started focusing on Kinect and being like, hey, you have to make games for Kinect. So we got Fable Journey. And then, online is getting popular, and we started getting Fable Legends, which was ultimately canceled. Same thing for a number of things. With Rare, with Lionhead, with a few other studios, people felt they were too direct, like too much direction. But with Phil Spencer in the lead and Matt Booty from Microsoft Studios, they've been much more guiding, but letting the studios decide their own path. Okay. And one thing he came out and said, because people who have been upset about the issues with Redfall, saying, well, why don't you have Arcane just make games they're good at? AKA Dishonored, or Prey, because Arcane Austin did Prey last. And Phil said specifically, he's like, I don't believe in that. I believe in letting studios, follow their own creative instincts, things they want to do. It's important to encourage that. If you just make studios make the one thing they're good at, it creates stagnation. And he doesn't want to be the boss that comes in and tells people that. So I think that's great. It does mean that sometimes some experiments won't go as well. But I don't think Starfield will be one of them,
Crossing those fingers.
Amen. Or as they say in chat right there, trolls like to troll. Yeah, effectively a different publisher. Exactly. I mean, definitely different studios creating them. 100%.
Well,
so
good.
That's really all I had for the Iguana bits. Nothing new in the world of Fallout today.
Keep your thumb out of my pie, Microsoft. I want a nice Bethesda buggy space game to play. All right, guys, Iguana bits. So we got a couple of shouts to get into on the way out the door. First and foremost, I'd like to recommend everyone please go to twitch.tv/stillfalling97. Stillfalling97. They're playing along with the Fallout 4 survival mode roundtable, and just another Twitch station to check out.
Yeah, that's our friend Jeff who did the first feedback tonight.
So thanks, Jeff. Everyone follow along at Stillfalling97. What else we got here, Jess?
I was also going to mention, since, we talked about, people who have been streaming and playing along, our friend Soph, she's on Twitch at Blissy Rose. So, if you want to give her a follow too, just a lot of our friends, who might not have a lot of people watching their Twitch stream, but if you want to follow along on YouTube or Twitch, they are going out there and doing it. So it'd be great to support them. And it's a great way, besides feedback, to kind of see how other people are tackling quests, to actually visually see it. It's really cool.
Absolutely. So Blissey Rose, BLISSEY ROSE, Blissey Rose, and Still Falling 97. Check both of those out on Twitch, please. We have any scorecation people on the?
I couldn't
cruising in?
find any. I went and looked to see if anyone announced scorecations. I was looking. No.
Well, we're sorry if we missed you, but if you did hit scorecation this week and we didn't call your name out specifically, this one is for you.
Scorecation!
Congratulations. All right, I know some people are wrapping up that scoreboard there. So, hey guys, we got anything else you'd like to cover before we sign off for the evening?
All set. Just thank you for the wonderful feedback and looking forward to next week.
Yeah, next week will be a feedback episode. Lots of heavy feedback from everyone in the group. If you sent last time, go ahead and send us again. Let us know what you've been doing this week. Send that to thefalloutfeed@gmail.com. Remember, that's going to be about a 5-minute audio file. Recording that on your voice memo app on your phone is totally cool. We don't need any fancy production or anything. Just go ahead and zip it on over to us at thefalloutfeed@gmail.com, and we're looking forward to hearing about your adventures. And on that note, you can find his space adventures at BBCISSS for the Butcher, Baker, and Candlemaker in Space. He's also on a Skyrim Addict podcast. Ray, thank you so much for hopping on tonight.
Good times.
He is at RayLB on the Twitter. She can be found at Sleep is for Tea, also at Dames Who Game, and at You Wastelanders for all your camp building needs. Jess, thanks so much for hopping on.
Thanks, Andrew.
I am at Indie Android. The show can be found at The Fallout Feed. I'd like to thank everyone for downloading this edition of The Fallout Feed, and we will see you in the Wasteland.
Thank you for downloading this episode of the Fallout Feed Roundtable. If you are interested in doing a play-along character with us, the show can be contacted by emailing falloutroundtable@gmail.com. For the Roundtable schedule, our Amazon link, and all other show information, please head on over to asapodcasting.com, where you will find the Fallout Feed, a Skyrim Addict podcast, our YouTube channel, the Chatterbox, as well as other content. Once again, thank you for downloading, and we'll see you in the Wasteland.
Naughty boy.